Welcome to the show, episode 5. Got a great guest here for you all today. Great week, a lot of crazy things happening, but most importantly, who we have here today is our good friend, Jonathan Gutierrez. Jonathan is, we know him from back from high school, but he's somebody who's had a lot of success, in his field and in the industry that he's in. And we really, want to hear more about that, right? The good tips and everything from being on the other side, right, of the process. That is a process that a lot of people go through, right? Which is sometimes, the car buying process and also the position that I see Jonathan in, that is not so much on the front lines, but it's more of the brains of that process. So Jonathan, hey man, thank you so much for being here. I know it's a different situation and things kind of change, but you're still here, man. So thank you so much for coming, bro. How you feeling today?
Feeling good. Just got a broken tendon right here.
What happened?
Yeah, tell us more about that, man.
What happened?
So I told my buddy the story, and he said, man, you should just say you got in a fight. Because basically I'm just a clumsy kid that grew up into an adult. And I took my dog for a jog. And it sounds stupid. I broke my bone taking my dog for a jog. But it's like the 7th jog that we go on. So he knows the shit. He knows what to do. We chose a different leash. We're choosing a 4-foot leash because he's in training now.
Oh, okay.
And he crossed me. And I tripped. I caught myself, but then he crossed me again right afterwards.
Oh man!
And then I was literally on the process. Yeah, I was literally on the process of slamming onto him. So I turned my back, and I feel this. I have a big Band-Aid right here. This hit the concrete.
Dang.
And I get up, and I'm cool and everything, and I'm like telling my dog, like, "Yo, like you fucking almost killed me." Right?
You're
I'm
like
getting ready to jog again, and I take like 3 steps on that jog, and I'm like, "Ooh, something's not right." I touched my shoulder, and there was like a lump right here, and I'm like, "Is that a welt? Like, did I hit myself hard?" I checked the other one, and my arm starts to move really slow, and I'm like, "Ooh, that hurts." I think I dislocated myself.
Oh no!
I called my wife, and I'm like, "Hey, I think I dislocated my shoulder." I'm walking back to the house. She's like laughing, like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I tripped over Olaf, my dog." He's all white, by the way. That's why his name's Olaf, like the Frozen character. But
dads know.
I go to the emergency room, and a dude takes the X-ray, and then he's like, "Yeah, this is what's wrong." And I'm like, fuck is that?
Oh man!
Right? It's literally my bones are like this. There's a tendon that's supposed to attach there. You're at a stage 2 where you almost ripped it completely apart. I'm like, fuck.
Damn.
Oh,
so what do you think would have been more expensive, stepping on your dog or breaking yourself?
I don't know. I mean, he's pretty big, but I'm 180 pounds, so I probably would have, his back would have been gone.
Oh no, man, that's crazy.
So Jonathan, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, what do you do? So for the people who don't know you that are listening on to the podcast, like, what's your profession? What do you work at?
Yeah, so my profession, I'm the finance director at a dealership. Right now, I work at Clear Lake Infinity. I have been the finance director at Sterling McCall Lexus as well. And so basically in the car buying process, once you find the car you want, you agree to the numbers with the salesperson, you go to finance your vehicle, whether you have financing from your own bank or you need financing done or you want to go for this special 0% APR. You come see one of my guys, or I'll take over the deal and I'll do it myself. And I'm basically in charge of compliance, in charge of quotas, in charge of sales, kind of like the general manager, the sales director, the finance director. Little even playing field there.
Can you tell us how you got to that position? Like, how did you start?
Oh, I started from the bottom. I literally started $12 an hour parking cars.
Wow.
Yeah, I was what they call the porter. So the porter's in charge of making sure the cars are back on the lot the way they should be. So when people go on test drives, the salespeople are the laziest people ever. If you're looking for somebody to take the shortcuts, salespeople will get it done, because that's just a different personality for those people. And the hard thing about finding a good finance manager, like the people I need working for me, is that salespeople are so unorganized because their brain is looking for the shortcut to the sale. What's the shortcut? Find the quickest way to the sale. And that's good. We want those type of people to find quick sales so they can sell more cars.
Right.
But the downside is if you go into finance where you got regulations and compliances, you don't want the person that's going to take the shortcut and get you, failing an audit, right?
Yeah.
And so the porter is there to just help out. It's a support staff to make sure that the lot's cleared and parked in the right location. From there, I wanted to sell cars, and it's funny because when I had applied to work at Lexus of Clear Lake, I went in there with intentions of selling cars, and the sales manager was like, "Why do you want to sell cars?" I said, "Well, I work outside in the heat right now." I was like 18. Yeah, I was 18. And I'm tired of it. I want to work somewhere luxurious. I mean, I like see these cars. I like them. I don't know a lot about them, but I feel like I can sell them. He's like, what do you have experience in sales? I don't have any.
Don't have any.
He's like,
experience.
okay, right? No,
I was coming here to look for that.
At that time, I was working at Red Lobster on the weekends, and I was working at this manufacturing plant where they made powder for drill bits for the oil and gas industry. And it has nothing to do with sales.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just manual labor and serving customer service, right?
Yeah.
It's not sales. And he goes, okay, well, I got a buddy at Toyota where you can go. And I was like, I don't want to work at Toyota. I want to work at Lexus. I want to work here.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, well, I don't got no positions. I said, well, do you have anything where I can learn? He said, well, I do need a porter. I don't even know what the hell that was. But I was like, okay, if I can learn from there, I'll do it because I want to get into sales.
Yeah.
And he comes back and he's like, okay, well, I need a porter. If you can pass the drug test and everything, you'll start at $10 an hour. I was like, I'm already getting paid $11 at this manufacturing plant. I was like, well, I can do 12. He's like, nah, I can't do you at $12 an hour. I was like, oh, okay. He goes, you know what? I like you. I'll do $12 an hour. Yeah. I was like, fuck, there you go. My first sale.
Oh, shit. That's exactly your first sale. You sold yourself there.
Yeah.
Awesome, bro. And so what happened after that?
So after that, I became the tech specialist, which is a new position for like the luxury field. So like the Mercedes-Benz has the Genius. BMW has like, or Mercedes-Benz has concierge. BMW has the Genius. Lexus has the tech specialist. So these luxury brands have a support staff for the sales for like if the customer needs to attach their phone to their Apple CarPlay and stuff like that, or they want to learn more about the lane departure assist, like these safety systems.
Okay.
This person explains the whole car.
Okay.
So I did that. So I did porter for 3 months, did that for 6 months, and then I got the position to where I could sell cars at a bigger dealership, which was Sterling McCall Lexus. And I did sales there for 9 months, finance manager for 2.5 years, and then became the finance director.
Wow. Wow.
Nice.
I mean, that's a pretty fast progression of career there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely. And so do you still keep in touch with that manager who hired you?
Oh, yeah, man. I have him on Facebook. I have him on Instagram. Cool. Shout out to Anthony.
Anthony.
Yeah, he's a general manager now.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
Yeah, he was working. He was a sales manager at that location, at Clear Lake and Lexus. And now he's the general manager of Sterling McCall Hyundai.
Sterling McCall
Nice.
Hyundai.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And do car dealerships, do they kind of like switch around like managers, like let's say for a really good managers known in the industry and somebody else will try to like recruit them over or like?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, it's something it's like a double-edged sword. You'll get recruited and you'll have to pass on recruitments because you want to progress on where you're at. You want to show that the general manager you're working for, you want to be learning from him and become the general manager of that store or a store eventually. But if you're good at what you do, people want you to work from there. Like people you used to work at will reach out to you and all that. And that's what happened at that Lexus dealer. People reached out to me and I started working at Infinity. And so, So somebody who you knew at Lexus went to work
Infinity
for her.
And then she recruited you.
She became the general manager of that dealership and she was like, come work for me. And they start showing you pay plans and you're like, no, I'm okay where I'm at. And they start increasing the pay. And eventually, I mean, it makes
a lot of sense for you.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense. And it was closer to home. So it was a no-brainer.
Gotcha.
And how has the dealership been doing with like the COVID stuff? Like, has sales been impacted like badly?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at, I don't know, I mean, not a lot of people follow like Wall Street Journal or Bloomberg. I like to get the notifications at least. Like
the problem is constantly too.
Yeah, and so if you look at consumer spending, it rose like 1% last month, but income fell 1.9%, right? So it's kind of like we're in this strange credit cycle, right? Okay. And it's a lot of support from the manufacturers giving 0% because that comes from the manufacturer, it comes from the dealership, it doesn't come from the dealership. You go to like a bank and you try to get 0%, they don't give that to you. Of course. So when you go buy a car and they offer 0%, it's like you take the 0%, but you don't get as much discount because the manufacturer won't give that dealership as much credit to sell that car because they got to pay for that rate. They got to pay for that 0%. It costs them money to give the customer 0%.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So if you see like if you're looking for a Dodge Ram, right, and you see like $8,000 off the sticker straight up front, and you can get another $2,000 off, and you also want that 0%, like the chances that's gonna happen is 0. So like people get frustrated when that shit happens, but I mean, what do you expect? The rate 0% is not a real interest rate. Yeah, and so COVID really affected sales. I mean, furloughed half the sales staff, right? Wow. Furloughed a finance manager. You know, and then half the people are buying cars, half the amount of volume going in and out. And then now where the credit cycle is starting to pick back up, but we have some customers that delayed their payments for 3 months or whatever it is that they were allowed to delay for, but they still want another car. And it's like, okay, you just went from being negative equity where your car is worth less than your loan, $4,000. Now you're even further in that hole. Now you're negative $6,000. But I'm in the luxury division, right? So I don't see those small amounts. I start seeing $14,000 negative equity, $20,000 negative equity. I mean, $20,000 on a 6 month.
Can you explain to our listeners what negative equity means, and to myself as well, because that's actually a new term for me?
Yeah. So everything has a value, right? Like, so the car has a value, and the thing about cars is it's not a good investment. They go down in value every month.
Right away, they depreciate in value.
Every week, really, but they'll refresh the values every month, and every mileage that you add to it is a certain amount of cents to your value.
Mm-hmm.
So if your car is worth $10,000 or $20,000 and your loan is at $30,000 that you still owe the bank, your car's worth 20. So you're in a negative equity position of 10 grand, right? Now, if the car's worth 40, you're in a positive equity position of 10 grand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a $10,000 down payment that you have for your next car, right? And so, like, if you miss payments or you skip on payments, your car's still devaluing. It's not going to stay the same value. And so you become further in that hole.
Okay.
And so when you're trying to get a new car, credit's important because credit will let you carry more than what the car's worth. So you go buy a new car, you don't want to put any money down. You're not just borrowing 100% of the car's value. You're borrowing the taxes and the fees. So you're borrowing like 112% of the car's value, right? Why would the bank give you 112% of something of value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they believe you're going to pay it back.
Of course.
But if you have terrible credit, you can't get to 120% or 130% because the bank doesn't believe you'll be able to pay that back.
Of course.
So then they'll charge you these 18% interest rates so that they can make their profit before they need to take that car away from you, right? Or something happens. So if you're in the hole, right, and you're also not putting down payment and you need to finance the taxes and you need to finance the fees, you get to like 130% loan to value, there's going to be like only 2 banks that would work with you, right? And so your chances of buying a car goes down. And so we've literally had to turn away like 6 or 8 customers a week because we just can't get it done. Even with their 700 credit score, they're just way too flipped.
Dang.
Even with a 700 credit score, they just have, like, their credit is, they're using too much credit. It's like, how does the bank seize them, or why can't you get them flipped?
Because they're too flipped in their car. So they're asking for a $70,000 loan for the new QX80. On top of that, we're rolling in negative equity from their previous loan of $14,000. On top of that, some taxes, right? So now that $70,000 car is now costing the bank $92,000. And they only want to finance $84,000, right? And the customer, although they have really good credit, they don't want to put that money down because COVID. I mean, they just
cash flow right now is really important.
Exactly. And at the same time, they want a new car, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the U.S. That's how people were accustomed to buy. And now we're in that credit cycle where we need to scale back. We need to invest in our savings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that causes us to have less customers.
Do you recommend like people putting down a down payment? Because I feel like a lot of people. Because my sister just bought a car, right? And she was telling me that like she got 0% down. I mean, she could have given 0% on her down payment, and she did. And she said that whatever money she was going to give towards the down payment, she'd rather just give it to the capital, or what is it?
To the principal.
To the principal, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what was happening.
Well, when you had told me that, and I would love for maybe you educate me on that. I said, wouldn't it be the exact same thing, right? Because if the down payment goes straight to the principal, correct?
Yeah, if you put it up front, it's going to go towards the principal. I mean, you're going to see a buyer's order that gives you a guideline of everything that was bought. So you'll see the vehicle, you'll see whatever accessories you purchased, you'll see your trade-in, you'll see the amount you got to pay the bank from your previous loan, you'll see the fees, and you'll see your down payment, and then the bottom line will be your principal amount, what you're financing.
Okay.
And so if it's not necessary for her to put down, then she can always put towards the principal. In Texas, our auto loans are simple interest loans, and they don't have prepayment penalties. Now, back in the day, like before the mortgage crisis, these loans had prepayment penalties, right?
Okay.
So like if you paid off this loan within 2 years, like refinance or paid it in cash, they would charge you a fee for doing that because they weren't allowed to collect all their interest. Now, nowadays, if she's not required to put down during the purchase of the vehicle, she can always put it towards principal. It's not an issue. Just keep in mind that when you get to a certain loan to value, and you're not going to know this, you're just going to have to do a lot of research, they will give you a lower interest rate because your loan structure is a really good loan structure. Because at the end of the day, these banks, they're just capturing all these loans, packaging them up into a credit debt obligation, and selling it to another investment bank so they can earn interest on it.
Yeah, I learned that in the movie. Have you seen the movie The Big Short? That's a really good movie.
Yeah, that
it
one
was actually with Michael Scott. Well, that's not his real name. What's his name?
Yeah, the dude from The Office. Yeah,
the dude from The Office, and he plays a complete different role.
I'm not a big fan of The Office. It's boring as hell. But
we love The Office.
All right, we'll get.
We love The Office. So, thank you so much for episode 5.
And that's how it ends. So what are you gonna say? About Big Short? Was it?
No.
Big Short's interesting because it makes everything simple, right? Like, Selena Gomez explains credit default swaps.
Well, see, that's not too simple, but I think it's very simple for you, right? Because you see that constantly, right? But for me, like, even I feel like I kind of know some. I just can't process things that fast in regards to that space, but
it's okay to pause the movie. Huh? It's okay to pause the movie.
What? Oh, The Big Short. No, it's a good movie. It's a good. It has to do with the 2008 crisis. And how these people in Wall Street actually made a lot of money when it happened because they predicted it in a way.
Wait, hold on. You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it.
What?
Oh,
you haven't seen it?
I've seen it.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Dude, I loved that movie. It was really good.
The Big Short.
It explained a lot to me of what had happened in 2008 because at that time I feel like I was still pretty young and I wasn't paying that much attention to what was happening. I just noticed that I didn't notice that it impacted my family because on Sundays after church, every time we would go out to eat or whatever. And then I remember a job start because my dad was in the building homes, right?
Oh, of course.
Carpenter, being a carpenter, and work went down really bad. And I noticed that after church we weren't going out to eat anymore, and we were going straight home. And I was like, "Damn, can we at least stop by McDonald's or something?"
Yeah.
Can I eat at
home? Like, damn, I went to church to go out and eat, and I don't even get that.
Yeah, and I don't even get the goddamn
man.
McDonald's.
I remember you saying, I think it was in a previous podcast, of how poor people end up paying more for stuff than rich people.
Yeah.
And I think it...
most definitely. And I think, and of course, this is not directed to, your family, because very well it's mine as well. But I feel like in 2008, in a way, especially being as immigrants, we were too poor to even really be affected by 2008. Yeah. It really affected people who had a lot on their 401k and money in the market.
Well, there was definitely some people that were immigrants that were affected.
Because they were indirectly affected.
Well, no, there was there was an interview with a mortgage processor from Washington Mutual, which is a bank that went under. Yeah. And
they got bought out by Chase, right?
Yes, it was between them and I believe Wachovia or another bank.
Yeah, and then Wachovia got bought out too.
But the issue with that is that proof of income, it's important to know that the person you're giving a loan to can pay that loan back, off, right?
Yeah, of course.
They weren't asking for that back then. They were going through ninja loans, right? Which is no income, no job,
and just whatever,
no assets, right? Because your 401k, you could list that as an asset when you're trying to buy a house. And so for this person's proof of income, because they required it, all they did was take a picture of his mariachi suit in front of a house that he's looking to buy, and that was his proof of income and proof of residence and her proof of employment. Literally, the dude dressed as his job in front of the house that he's looking to buy. Yeah. They put that in the loan package and they said, "Okay, the loan's yours."
That's crazy, dude. That's
fucking insane.
Do you feel like we're kind of somewhere going along that? Because I have heard that
helping a crippled boy out, huh?
I've heard that percentages right now for loans is really low. Interest rates are the lowest they've ever been.
Yeah, so that's what when I throw the term out there, credit cycle. It's important to keep the consumer credit cycle going because inflation is a good thing. 2%, 3% inflation is a good thing. If you look at Japan's prices keep going down every single year, right?
Prices of what?
Prices of things, goods in general. Okay. There was this one company that sold sandwiches, right? Okay. And they sold sandwiches and they kept decreasing the price of sandwiches every year by a few cents. And one year the CEO or somebody came up with the idea and said, "Fuck this, we're going to increase the price next year." And people went freaking crazy. They were like, "Why did the price go up? Prices aren't supposed to go up here. They're supposed to go down," right? And the issue with Japan is that they need tsunamis to destroy property so that they can spend money and stimulate the economy.
That's crazy.
Because people don't spend money there. People don't spend money. They save their money because they know next year they can buy that car for cheaper. It's insane. Yeah, they have negative interest rates.
And here in the U.S., it's completely different, right? Because money in your savings account makes you less money because it's growing under inflation, right? So money in a savings account, you get 0.0025%.
Yeah,
That's check. You get your little payment every 6 months of a penny or so. And so with inflation growing at 3% every single year, it's like your money is worth less, right? So, I am a finance major, and I did have a Series 6 and 63 at one point, but I'm not an expert. However, I do tell people, and I want to hear your thoughts, that you want to get to a point, and for me, that point is $10,000. So I want to have just $10,000 always, right? So just so I can make sure, like my emergency fund, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like once after like you have that, not an emergency fund, but just your savings of 10 grand, that's my number. Then you want to start doing things with your money.
Okay.
Then you want to put your money to work for you. Even if it's like you're not like a risk averse person where you don't want to like put it in the market and trade and, because you can get into like really risky stuff, but at least like put it into a CD, right? Or, which is I'm not a big fan of either because it's not very liquid, but it actually would help you make some more money with your money or just find ways to get paid more, right?
Okay.
So you can even buy like, mutual funds that will pay you out a dividend, right? Or pretty much there are income bonds or there's different things that you can buy where like every 6 months you'll get, a dividend payment of $25. So now if you own 6 bonds, with 25, whatever that math is, 150, right?
Yep.
So, that's just a very small example of, after you get, for me personally, is like after you get to a certain stage, and it's very important to start making money with your money, right? If you're just holding on to it here in America, that's actually a system I feel that would make you, at the end of the day, won't be very successful. It could be successful during a crash, like right now, because it's good to have cash, but overall, I think it's very important to invest.
Yeah, in general, saving money is a success, no matter what. Even if you have it under your couch, saving money is a success. Even if inflation is taking it away, you're successful because you were able to save that money. Now, if y'all are looking for some advice on saving money, I'm not an expert, but I will tell you Dave Ramsey is like the most conservative that you can get, where like he says like buy cash car, all that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't listen to everything he says because I wouldn't be happy if I listened to everything he says. Some of the stuff he says, I'm like, bro, really? Like fucking,
what is this,
I like cars. I'm in the car industry, so I can't see myself with not having a luxury vehicle. Now, I had bought a Toyota Camry before for $4,000. And I was driving it to work because I was trying to listen to Dave Ramsey and be a good boy, right?
How did that work out for you, bro?
Bro, I was sad. I was like, man, I'm driving this piece of shit car to work where I'm making, money, and I'm got to get in this piece of shit car that, fucking got to connect my phone with a
You were looking like hell driving to a luxurious car place, bro.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
it wasn't more like I'm embarrassed that I'm in this car. It was more like, I like cars. Why the fuck am I in this piece of shit?
Yeah. Especially when you're out here selling Lexus. It's
a different perspective. It's not like I don't want somebody to see me in this car. It's more like, why the fuck do I work hard if I'm driving this piece of shit, right? So the thing about us, like human beings, we like instant gratification, right? And that goes to like raising kids. If you want to talk about that topic, that instant gratification, the patience that it takes for somebody to have to be successful is one of the hardest things that was for me to learn, right?
Okay.
Yeah. But once I learned how to be patient, everything was easier to control.
That's an awesome statement, man.
Yeah,
that's an awesome statement.
But I will say, Dave Ramsey, if y'all are listening to this and you're like, you know what, this is sparking a thought in me. I should be saving some money. I should have an emergency account. $1,000 is fine to have as an emergency account. In your savings, that's separate than an emergency account. Account, don't be scared to use your emergency account, because if somebody died that's an instant relative and they need some type of what is that where people GoFundMe,
okay,
like you have your emergency savings to help that relative, right? You can send them $25 or $100, right? You can contribute to that because you have an emergency account, right? But Dave Ramsey will let you know what the real deal is, what to do with what. And he's on YouTube. He's so easy to listen to.
I like Dave Ramsey.
I haven't heard about Dave Ramsey. Is he like a financial advisor? Or?
Yeah.
Some people call him a financial guru. Something like a guru type.
Talk about somebody who made it rich when he was like 19 years old selling houses. The dude became a billionaire or millionaire, not billionaire. Over here, fucking gassing him up.
Yeah.
He became a millionaire.
There's a big difference in that B and that M.
No shit.
Yeah.
And then he lost it all because he was doing hard money loans on these houses that he was trying to flip. 08 came by and the houses weren't worth what they used to be worth, and they called his loans. So you've heard of a margin call, right?
Sounds familiar, bro. I'm just not like, I'm so invested in my industry that like I kind of like, but please.
So a margin call is when you're over leveraged on your portfolio, and they say, well, your portfolio is losing value. We need all our money back. You got to sell all your assets at a loss, and then you could potentially still owe the bank money. Yeah, so if you talk about like bonds, like this is the complete opposite of that side. This is like borrowing money to invest in.
Yeah, it's very risky.
It's very risky, but with risk comes reward.
Of course.
Yeah, and he lost it all, and then he had to get back on his feet, and he learned tough things from his mistakes because he was married at the time too, trying to have kids and everything, and it ruined his life. The dude was like close to being homeless. And what happens when you meet pressure like that? What happens? You're either gonna give into that pressure and say, I can't take it anymore, life is too hard, or you're going to push and become a diamond. And of course, you're going to be unstoppable after that.
Exactly. I used to have this, well, I still have the saying, but I feel like my life's a lot easier, so I don't have to tell myself this anymore. You know, I used to tell myself when shit was hard, but I used to say, you know, mind like a diamond, heart of a lion. It's kind of corny, but... You know, it was like, you know, diamond is... Look, Martin, with that passive-aggressive shit over there.
What?
Because he liked it.
Dang.
I just thought about your... Don't you have a tattoo of a lion?
Yeah, I have a tattoo of a lion
right on your heart.
Yeah.
You have a diamond on your head now.
Yeah, because... nah, I can't do that. But it's because, you know, diamond is the most, you know, hard mineral on Earth. Nothing can break a diamond but a diamond. So... It's just you have a strong mind. There's so much you can just overcome. I mean, I'm sure that's why you're very successful, bro.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing about this collarbone incident that just happened, it's a clavicle incident, separation. Anyways, the thing about it is I had recorded my day just on my phone. Like, I wasn't going to post any of it, but then I thought about, like, you know what? Like, I post success a lot. And I don't know, like, because I have people that message me from time to time, and they just ask me questions. And it's like, okay, like, that's kind of why I post sometimes, because it kind of reaches people in different ways.
Yeah,
and,
it does, man. It's awesome to do it. Keep doing it.
And I was like, you know what? I don't really post failures. So I was like, let me go ahead and post what just fucking happened to me. Because, like, I'm a person that can laugh at myself all day. Like, when I grew up in Fisher Elementary or Parkview Intermediate, like, bro, we just...
I didn't know you went to Parkview.
We just clowned on each other all the time, like soccer, like we just,
even in high school, man.
Dude, you couldn't be yourself anywhere without being clowned.
Yeah,
he was just fucking bullied all the time. So I learned to just laugh at myself, like take things like a grain of salt and just keep moving forward. So I felt like I needed to post what had happened to my comment, and at the same time, I didn't want to have to explain it to like 300 fucking people that I tripped over my dog.
Hey, so I want to touch back on that point that you said that. Having like a family or whatever, and were you always like how do I say it? Because like we've been friends for quite a while, like ever since like beginning of high school, and I always seen you as someone that's like really smart, but also kind of like you used to be a little bit more reckless. I feel like back in the high school days. Do you think like whenever you started like having a family, do you think that kind of like straighten you out more, like made you more financially aware and all that stuff?
Not just financially, like Yelitsa in general straightened me out. Like we went to a fight over Twitter beef,
on Twitter,
and I got my ass kicked. And sometimes I look
you
back.
Fought somebody over Twitter beef?
Yes, bro.
Oh my god!
Not just the Twitter beef. He drove all the way over there to
just to get my ass kicked.
Yeah,
because I didn't know how to fight.
Lost.
And he lost,
bro. And I didn't know how to. How cocky was I?
Yeah, that was right there.
I had a huge
How old were you, bro?
I saw that video.
Bro, but I needed that because my head was like this fucking big. I thought I was unstoppable. Because at that time, during my high school year, I was also seeing success, and I let it get to me. And I kind of saw people like...
Made you feel like you knew how to fight?
Not just like... I didn't even see it that way. I just thought that some way God's going to make me win. Like for some reason that cycle was in my head. Like there's nothing that I can do that will be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be successful.
Yeah.
And that confidence is good because so I don't know. You talk about somebody said The Social Dilemma. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, we've seen it.
There's another movie out there on Netflix about education system.
Okay.
And it made me think about how in math the U.S. is like one of the worst, like number 18th.
We actually went over it, right?
Where he brought up those stats. Yep.
Like it's like number 18th in the country, in the nation.
24th.
Wait,
I don't know,
no,
I guess it
bad?
depends
It's bad.
on. I
It's
guess
bad.
it depends on
Yeah.
the year or something.
It's not
right?
very good. It's not very good.
And these other countries like Sweden and stuff are number one, but like they're not the richest country. The
Mhm.
U.S. is. So you know what makes us rich, and I learned this at a young age, is that people aren't rich because they're smart. Albert Einstein, if you look at his financials, he was stupid with all his money. He was retarded. He sorry, can't say that word.
Yeah.
He was just, it didn't make sense what he did with his money. He had girlfriends and all that. He wasted his money. For you to earn money and be successful, you don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You just need to be confident. You need to believe in yourself. And even if it sounds like you're doing something different, right? Like you may not feel like your people are going to accept you because this is a certain view. If that view is itching at you and telling you, chase this, go for it, because you're going to find yourself in that journey. And when you find yourself, whatever you do is going to become successful.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned the average GPA for the millionaires, right?
Yeah. The
What was it,
average
like
GPA is
3.2?
No, dude, it's 2.7.
2.7?
That's what I graduated with.
2.0.
I graduated with like a 2.8 GPA
Yeah.
because like somewhere around my sophomore year, the teacher told me that all I needed was a 70 to pass. And from there, my goal was 70. As long as I make a 70, I'm going to pass high school.
Damn. Yeah. That's crazy. And I agree with that, man. I think in the way what you're saying fundamentally is that pushing forward, right? That 1%, because it's like what you said is like no matter what you do, if you feel like you have a niche for it or you feel like you could do it, and if you do it, right, the execution, which is usually the hardest part of anything, then it could eventually become successful. You believe in yourself enough. And I am a firm believer of that so much, man. And I feel like in regards, like, I mean, I would like to share a story. You know, I'm actually going to share a story about failures because you just brought up a great point that kind of made me look up. And it's like, you know, I feel like I myself post success in not just to ever be boastful, but because I know it reaches people and I know it inspires people. And I've gotten that, you know, feedback back. But one of my biggest failures that I've had was last year. And I think I talked to you about that the first time or something similar
sure.
about it.
Mental health. You talked about mental health and
Of how 2019 was the craziest year. And it's just so crazy remembering. So I used to work like, you know, at this job. So similar to how you got, I got into a good paying job where I was doing good and I found what I loved. And I was really good at it. You know, I was in the corporate world and it was a whole different vibe of, you know, because I was working with people who like went to private schools, you know what I'm saying, like come from LSU, A&M, and even them, I was outperforming them, you know what I'm saying, because our job was really about hustle, you know what I'm saying, so something that we got. Long story short, man, what we did at that company is people's payroll, their 401k, their administration, their you know, reporting. And so my dad owns a small business. And so I told my manager, I say, hey, is it okay if we work with my dad's business? You know, we can help him out because I know he needs help with payroll and things like that. I said, is that cool? I said, we do have the exact same name. So would that be an issue? She said they both were together. And they said no, but if anything, your direct manager, because we know we have our VP, and then the other manager, she was like, she can do the call for you, the welcome call. And so I went forward with it, scheduled a meeting. My dad actually came to our building. We went over, we know what we could do for him, and it was literally just like a transaction, you know,
Official.
like, you know, like we're gonna go ahead and take over your payroll. We're gonna pay your employees. We're gonna administrate your 401k. No, I'm sorry, we're gonna get him on an IRA. Because he had a small company. It was called a simple IRA. And it was going to work out for him. So that very same day when that happened, I get an email from our corporate saying, hey, are you related to this individual? Because I had just submitted the sales order. They said, I said, yeah, you know, that's my father. I didn't think much of it, you know, because in my mind I had a clean conscience. You know, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not trying to like cheat my company, cheat the system, cheat anything. So I get a call, the very next week. I don't think about it. That was like on a Thursday. The next Monday, which is our close that week, which when you work in sales, I mean, for you, like your last week of the month, you're trying to get everything in for that month. Because you have a quota.
Yeah.
You're trying to meet a budget, something,
Billing.
right? So you're trying to push everything into that month. And I remember I was like working. I was like bouncing everywhere. And I get a call and they're like, hey, this is HR. Can we talk? Cool. And, you know, that's kind of scary. But at the same time, I was like, I know I have nothing to fear. I didn't think about anything, you know. And so they say, hey, we have to look into this because, you know, like there's been times before when employees have made a fake sale to make their number or something like that.
Just get paid.
So at first, because it looked like Noe Garcia selling to Noe Garcia.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it was a little sketchy. So at first, I was like, oh, hey, whatever y'all need from me, it's cool. I understand how this looks sketchy, but I want to do everything I can on my part so we can just get this behind me. I need to make, you know, more quota for the month. So that happens, and I think everything is fine. But I did make one mistake that I've always owned up to, which it's just like one of the dumbest mistakes I made in my life, but at the same time not really, because I really enjoy where I am right now in life, which is when it was such a stupid thing. Whenever you went through a sales order for us, you put your bank information because that's where we're going to withdraw your funds of our clients, right? We're going to withdraw them and pay your taxes and pay your employees, right, from your main business account. When my dad did that, he added an extra 0 to his account, so the sales order wasn't matching up, and they bounced it back to me. They're like, hey, your routing number or account number is off. Okay. I saw it as like an extra 0. So and I still regret it. It was my mistake and 100% on me. Whenever that happened, I thought in my head, let me just fix this for him. I called him and I'm like, hey, Dad, we got to fix. He's like, hey, man, I'm working. Like, you know, like I can't just drive over there and do this right now. He's like, can you just fix it? I said, okay, cool. It was closed that week that when that happened. So I was like, I'm trying to work fast because we work very fast. So from just me going in there, my sales order, fixing it, clicking, you know, like it got fixed. In a way, it was him saying that he had authorized that fix. Like he was next to me physically.
Okay.
He wasn't there with me physically. You know, he was on the phone with me. Because of that, long story short, I get another call and interview me more, and they bring that up. They said, I thought you only met with him one time. I said, I did. They said, well, how come there's a change in the sales order? We routed the IP address. And yeah, so we were at the building, and they were like, we know you were there. What'd you call it? And I remember at that time, I was at it, my heart dropped because I knew it was like, this is not good. You know, you never want to get a call from HR. This is not good. Yeah. My daughter was 4 months old, bro. And
that's what you thought about?
God damn it, this whiskey. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, the first thing I thought was my kid. Well, now I have 2 kids, but you know, that really hit me hard, and because I knew where that projection could have gone. But my manager, who I still have a good relationship with at the time, I mean, right now, she's like, hey, I'm going to talk to my VP, like a lady who runs like 7 states. She's like, there's no way you're going to get fired. That's not going to happen. Okay. You know, this is on a Tuesday. Wednesday, I remember we had like an event. We go to the event. She's like, hey, we're good. My bad, bro.
I know, I saw that.
I was like, hey, we're good. I talked to so-and-so. You're good. All right. So I'm like, oh, thank God. Good. You know, the next day she calls me after work and she's like, hey, did they call you? Did HR call you and tell you it's finalized? And I said, no. She's like, dang it. She's like, all right, I'm going to call them. And that kind of got me back up, like a little worried. And so on Friday, we always have a team meeting. We always had a team meeting. So we drove up to the office, team meeting 8 a.m. And she's standing there at the door always. She's one of the most amazing leaders. And hopefully we can eventually have her on this podcast because she's a true leader. I'm the one saying her name, but she's amazing. She was like, hey, once again, reassuring me. She's like, I called her. We're good. I don't want you to worry. Just focus on having a good day today. And I remember at that time, like coming into the office, I don't know if you've ever been like super worried about something that you know it's serious. Yeah. It's not like worried about like something that's like dumb, but like something that you know like it's super serious, right? And I remember feeling that, and it's just like, God, man, I hope. And she told me that, and I felt like, it was like my water was like I was about to drown, and I felt like I could breathe. So I remember like it was like I got motivated. So I had a great day at work. I was actually gonna go to Sam Houston State for our alumni weekend for my fraternity with our boy LJ, who was here last weekend. And we were gonna have the alumni weekend, which is the alumni come back, and we have like a softball game, and we all hang out with the undergrads and stuff. And I think that was like my first alumni, so I was really excited. Lunch comes around, and they're like, I was talking to my direct manager, and we were like, hey, you're actually looking like you're about to get promoted, because in sales it works is like whenever you hit like a certain metric, you get like a salary increase. And they were like, I was like $4,000 away from it, so I was about to hit it the very next month, which was like going to be a huge accomplishment for me. And then she's like, wait 1 second,
you're a fraud.
No. No, she was like, wait.
Story, Martin.
Wait. She was like, so and so's texting me. She goes in there, and then like at first I was just working on my stuff, and then she's like, I get a text. She's like, hey, can you come in here? Oh, and I'm just like, as soon as I went in there.
That's strange though, right? Like when somebody talks to you differently than what you're used to being talked to.
Yeah.
Like, can you come in here without any context?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah. I went in there, man, and it was I remember seeing so and so's face, and like the longest face, because I really did have a great relationship with them. They were great leaders I've ever worked for. And I mean, I have a great leader right now, but just who they were at the moment, they were just great leaders. And they were like, I'm not supposed to tell you this right now. We're supposed to give you a call back here at 4:00, but they're telling me I have to like fire you.
Oh,
they were like, I don't like. I'm talking about like, you think about your GM, bro. Who's like overrunning 60 people, however many people you're employed.
Yeah, I didn't see
like
that
in
coming.
Tears.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I cannot believe they're doing this to you.
Yeah, well, when you're a good employee, that's what happens, right? Like that your GM feels for you.
It was. I mean, I feel like I am a great employee. Anybody there at work, like just as going as an employee is like camaraderie, but and also in business, I was successful. Like like think about like one of your best like car salespeople being fired over. I mean,
I've been in the industry for 6.5 years. I've seen situations like that happen, where people got fired because the customer wasn't there, right? And it's like, this person had so much potential. Like, why does the system have to do this to this person?
But I mean, and to understand, like, I'm not gonna fault the system. It was my fault. I made that mistake, and I went up to it.
Because you didn't follow protocol.
I didn't follow the protocol, and at the end of the day, that was on me. I think it was just like a innate thing when I was like, it's my dad. I know I'm not hurting nobody. Like I was just like, okay, cool.
like you know that he wouldn't disagree with the change.
Exactly, right. I would never do that for
get your thought process.
Yeah, and at the moment it was quick, but now of course me more experience, because I was a year and a half ago. I would never do that again. Of course.
It's also so weird, like having to be a professional and then like having to use those same standards to your family members if you're even trying to help them out,
Yeah. No, for sure, man, for sure. But I the thing, like that company that I work for was a Fortune 300 company, so it's one of the. I mean, it's the biggest company in the world at what they do, So now I work for a competitor of them, but what you call it?
Wait, so you ended up getting fired from there?
Yeah, man. So that happens, and so let me think about, like, this is where I'm so proud of, like, being a DACA recipient and so proud of the adversity I faced as a kid, because it made me ready for that moment.
Okay.
Whenever that happened, and I'm literally sitting across, like, the table, like, everyone's gone, because on Fridays in our world, dude, by 2:00, no one's working, bro. Everyone's gone for the, like,
It's corporate.
Yeah. So we weren't doing anything. We were in the office together, and she's like, she had to be there as well till 4, because she had to be on the call to, like, the official fire me call.
Yeah.
And then she was just, I can't believe they're doing this. She calls her boss, comes back in. She's literally, and then I'm like, very calm. I'm just like thinking, like literally like this. And also, like, while like that happened, like when I first kind of found out, I was like, yeah, it's probably gonna happen. Like on the moment, bro, I was like started messaging people on LinkedIn, because the market was booming back then. So I used to get a lot of messages on LinkedIn about going to work for someone else.
Okay.
So then I started like replying to them and things like that. I already, dude, like by the time I got fired, I already had 2 interviews set for like the next week, because I was like, I don't have time to
You had a family growing.
Yeah, I have a family.
Yeah,
I can't just sit here and cry. Like, I mean, I feel like shit.
Yeah. If you don't have money, you have time. You don't have time, you have money.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So, that's happening, man. And I'm like, fuck it. I gotta, and she tells me, she was like, how are you literally so strong through this? Like, this is not, but she was like, this is not fair, which I don't think it was fair, but I mean, the protocol's protocol. What'd you call it? She was like, how are you so strong through this? And I said, honestly, this is not the hardest thing I've been through in life. I mean, it was tough. Now that I look about it, dude, I started making money. That's when I was just making money, bro. Like, when I really started rolling.
Yeah, and the feeling of losing that.
And then, and then I was like, man, I don't have a lot of money saved. Like, fuck, I got a kid. I got to pay all my bills. My wife had just started working. Literally a month work, bro. So before that, I was used to, not just having money to pay bills, and that's it. So we were just, starting to get away from that, right? And then, boom, that happened. But when that happened, I remember I went home, and I remember this is why I love my wife so much, man, because I went home, and we got to the apartment at the exact same time. And I already told her on Wednesday, I said, hey, something's happening, and I don't know, I have a bad feeling, but, they're telling me I'm going to be okay, She's like, well, whatever happens, we're going to figure it out. Cool. And I told her, and then I remember I saw her, and she was like, you acted so normal. I got out the car, and I'm a goofy dude, man. So, I'm super goofy with her especially. But then we went upstairs, and I said, hey, it didn't go well. I said, they fired me. And that's honestly, bro, now that I look back on it, and why I was so depressed last year, because it was at that point, now that I look back, I had been given everything I had ever wanted to that point in my life, as I ever envisioned my life looking when I was an adult. I wore a suit to work every day. I enjoyed what I did. I actually genuinely helped people, companies, right? Because I worked with a lot of startups. And since I was Hispanic, I worked with a lot of Mexican people or Hispanic people, right?
And you give them opportunities that didn't know existed.
And at that moment, I feel like, everything was being taken away. But the main point of this, man, is that I just moved forward. I said, I don't have time to dwell on this sadness, on being upset. I remember that was the weekend that Israel Adesanya fought Kevin Gastelum. And I went to go watch it with my friend, and I told him, and he was like, what? No, you're kidding. He was like, I thought you were doing really good. I said, yeah, but this happened. And we still went out to eat that night. And he's like, bro, you don't seem worried. And I said, dude, and honestly, honest to God, I weirdly wasn't worried. That weekend only, it kind of hit me on Monday when I had to go back to work and I didn't have a job to go to. But I was just like, I'm going to figure something out. Long after that, I had built such a good rapport, just how you good coworkers know of other good coworkers. So, I had built, I had a really good personal brand to that company. Yeah. Because, I was just a good person. I would think so. And people started referring me, if they would get recruited, they were like, hey, I'm good, but contact Noe. And lucky one of my teammates at that company that I got fired from, what's crazy? Before, it was 8 people knew this story. So this is a big thing I'm sharing.
Now 300 people.
Yeah, 300. Hopefully 300 people. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, man, because of him, my boy D, I got an opportunity to get this job. And then they called me, when the recruiter called me, she was like, hey, well, we don't have any space in the small market division, which is what I was doing over there. But we do have some availability in major markets. And I said, well, I forgot her name. I don't remember her name. I said, well, miss, I don't have experience working major market. If I can guarantee you I'm a chameleon. And if you give me an opportunity, I'm going to get that job.
Yeah. Nice.
I told her that on the phone. She said, okay, I like that. I like that a lot.
It's a sales job. So they were looking for that answer.
Yeah.
And then I get an interview with my other boy, with my manager, and there's a whole other crazy story happened about that, but we're not going to get into that today. Yeah. Where eventually got the job, man. Long story short, I was only unemployed for 3 weeks, which is a really quick turnaround. By the 4th week, I was getting hired again, and I got a job with, actually, we have better benefits, for sure. And I got a $10,000 increase in my salary.
Nice, bro. Good job.
Yeah,
So
glory to God, man. Glory
It's
to
crazy
God.
how this falls in line a lot with the it's October now, and I started doing that sober October. Doing something
Yeah.
for the whole month. So I started.
I
reading.
saw that.
Yeah. So, I mean, all of that came from that the podcast Joe Rogan, and he always talks about this book called The Coddling of the American Mind, and it's funny how I'm only like 50 pages into it, and they were describing how people here in America they're trying to raise their children like candles, where you put a little bit of fire, right, and then if a little bit of wind comes, it blows them out. When before it used to be that they used to be like a little candle in a big fire, right? That where if wind came, they would rise up to the occasion and fire will come out. Like
That's a great analogy.
They will succeed, right? And I was thinking about this right now when you were telling the story that you were not a candle, bro. You were not about to let that.
I've never been a candle.
You were ember in a bush.
You were an ember, yeah. So I was like, I mean, now I know what he talks about it. Like in that book, it's really good, and like now I know what he's always talking about it, and it's amazing.
Yeah, man, and similar how you gave that message. Like if anybody who's listening to this, and I mean, if that ever hits you, just like we're all gonna go through low times, and that honestly it showed me, like no matter what success, even right now that I have right now, I understand that I'm gonna probably hit a valley at some point in my life.
Yeah.
So that's why I have a different perspective of like prepare for it in a way, but also keep myself strong always, like to endure that, especially now that I have a family.
I've always looked up to Jonathan about that too, because I know at a point he was like living with his wife's parents' house, and I always seen him like always trying to keep moving up. Like he started like
He has a beautiful home.
He started moving cars, right? And I remember going to I think we went there for Leilani's, I think, like baby shower, your baby shower. I was there. Yeah. So I was like, dang, like he's here. And then I would be just following you through your Instagram or whatever and seeing like how you've been moving up and up and up and up, and you're not letting nothing like bring you down, bro. That's like really inspiring to me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, it's neat to know what drives that, but like for me to write it in a book, I just don't have the fucking time. But I know somebody who has, right? It's called Principles by Ray Dalio. So if y'all are looking for how somebody spirals up, right? Because the thing about life is that there are successes and there's failures. And the thing about failures is that you get to choose how long they last.
Dude, exactly, dude.
Yeah.
That comes up in that book.
So
can you explain that a little bit?
To spiral up, right? A spiral that's going up would look like a loop that goes down eventually, but just for a little bit, right? And that's the perfect spiral that you're looking for. And when I mean like you choose how long the failure is that you get to choose how long you're going to be in that rut. Like let's say you're trying to dig a hole, right? Are you going to try to dig that hole quick? Or are you going to just take your time and just, if you're doing something you hate, how long are you going to try to hate that? There's going to be a point where you're going to say, okay, I got to love this.
Yeah.
I got to face.
You got to flip your switch in your brain.
I got to face the situation that this is not a good situation. But guess what? Because it's not good and I hate it, that means I'm alive and I can change it. Right? And so Ray Dalio teaches in the book Principles what to do at the steps of failure to learn how to succeed from that failure. Because anybody can fail. It's not hard. Just like when I see customers with their credit scores and I see terrible credit scores and they're making all the money. It's like, what are you doing? Like anybody can have a bad credit score. To have a terrible credit score, like in the 400s, you're really fucking trying.
You're trying to
freaking fuck that credit up. You're trying to max out your credit cards. Like you're just trying to take advantage of the system, right? Now, you can also change that energy and put it up. Just like when people see smart criminals and be like, imagine if they applied their smart strength to something that's legal, like a legal hustle instead of a illegal hustle, right?
Yeah.
You get to choose where to put your energy. And as long as, I don't believe in karma.
You don't believe in karma?
No, I don't believe in karma.
We gotta talk about that.
I know for sure that what you do out into the universe or life in general comes back to you, but it's not karma.
I don't
What
believe
would you call it then?
It's energy.
But wouldn't you say energy is karma?
No.
Because I feel like I have the same. Maybe you've learned something I haven't yet, but.
Well, I saw in your Instagram story the other day that you kicked a dog when you were coming home from work, and look at you now. You have your arm broken.
That's karma.
That's karma.
all the pain I put him through, now I'm fucked. Hey, have you ever broken a bone?
No, never have.
No?
Yeah, I have.
You have?
I've never broken a bone, no.
What bone did you break?
I broke my hand.
Your hand?
Mm-hmm.
The fuck did you do?
I don't want to talk about it.
Punched the wall, didn't you?
Yeah, it's illegal.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
You did some white boy shit and you punched the wall.
No, dog.
He broke his car radio.
No, I've never broken a bone, and it's so dumb because, like I said, I'm a clumsy child. I grew up into adult because I broke my bone walking my freaking dog while I was running, but...
Dude,
That's how privileged he is, man. He breaks his bone
I
walking his dog in his private community.
I messaged him. I was like, bro, did you really just break your arm?
Yeah. Well, okay.
Are you still coming tomorrow?
People are probably going to watch this and be like, how the hell... I can't imagine him running and breaking his bone. I was sprinting. The dog likes to sprint. It's a freaking dog. It runs faster than I do. And so I try to catch up to him because I want him to be excited. He's a puppy. I want to stimulate him. So I was literally going as fast as I could, and the dude crossed me, and it fucked me up.
Do you know how to run?
Huh?
Do you know how to run? How to run?
Yeah. I was in cross country.
Okay, so you do know how to. There's a lot of
cross-country.
people that don't know how to run.
Yeah. What do you mean? Like they run all freaking weird?
Yeah, they
Well,
just
a lot of
their
people
arm
in cross
placement and
country.
everything, just even how like your feet.
Yeah.
Well, there is a proper way to sprint, right? But
Yeah.
like if you're looking to jog like 4 miles, you can actually run however you want. It's just the pavement that you're gonna run on is what you got to pay attention to.
No, I agree that because
Can't be
you're not worried
arms.
about being the most aerodynamic, or anything like that. So
Yeah, it's all about endurance at that moment because your body's gonna fix it. Well, I don't know if it does. I mean, some people have weird shaped bones. But anyways, to tie it all up, man, I wanted to give a shout out to Pina. Rodolfo.
Rodolfo?
Yeah, because he had broken the same part of his bone before.
Hugo too.
Hugo actually
Broke
fractured
his
his collarbone.
Oh, collarbone.
Uh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Hugo,
Pina
is that
actually tore his tendon.
Hugo?
Hugo. Oh yeah, Boteo.
But,
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
the
that
one I was with.
guy's hilarious. Shout out to Hugo. I've been knowing that
Hugo's
guy for the
fucking funny,
longest,
bro.
man.
That's funny.
That
Were all
guy, that
these,
guy's hilarious.
Were all these dog walking accidents or?
No, they were both of them were playing soccer when it happened,
okay.
and I remember because I drove him to the ER, Hugo, because we lived in the same street, and I just couldn't stop fucking laughing at him. So when he saw my story, the first thing he did was call me, and he started fucking laughing, and I'm like, "What, bro?" He's like, "I just saw your fucking story." I'm like, "What, man?" He goes, "I told you."
That's called karma, Jonathan.
He said, "I told you it's easy. It's easy to break your collarbone."
That's
Dang.
really hilarious, man.
No, but in general, energy, like not the little fucking rocks that give out energy. You gotta keep them in your purse and shit like that.
No,
No,
we're
I
not
don't
talking
believe in
about
that.
stone energy.
No, not at all. But hey, definitely want to get into that topic about energy, man, and how you feel. Now let's do this. Let's take a break. Let's take a break. We'll talk about that. We'll get our thoughts together and take
Also, whenever we come back from the break, I also want to get into like some of the news that's been happening about Donald Trump getting COVID, the debate that happened,
Ay, Dios mío.
the aliens that were spotted in New Mexico. We'll talk about all of that.
Yeah, all this crazy stuff. Stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show, part 2. Cheers, guys. It's been a great
Cheers.
First half of the episode.
Yeah, first half.
Thanks for helping a crippled
Got
bro
you,
out.
bro.
Okay.
Here, help out the cripple, man.
Thank you for coming out, Jonathan. Even though you had to drive probably with one hand, which was
Your luxury car.
your luxury car with one hand.
It
Tesla.
it has lane departure assist, so it
Oh,
actually
does it?
stays in the lane.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, wow.
You don't have to do any of the driving.
Tesla
Cool.
looking ass.
I want one. I pre-ordered the Cybertruck.
For $100
You did. I remember
Yeah.
when you did that. $200,
That's
right? Down
when
payment.
that's when Oliver was born. The day before is when it came out.
Really.
It was $100, wasn't it?
Yeah, $100 pre-order.
$100.
Yeah, they've been having my money for about 9 months now.
And when was supposedly the drop date for the truck? Supposedly.
It's a year from now.
Oh, okay.
Are you gonna get it and everything?
Yeah. Like once
Are you gonna get it, sell it, or are you gonna actually keep it?
I'm gonna keep it.
Okay.
It's gonna be
Do
mine.
you think it's actually gonna come out in a year, or do you think it's gonna be one of those things that just keeps getting
Man,
delayed?
I can't doubt Elon Musk. So many people have doubted him.
No, not doubting.
I'm
not
so
doubting,
mad at myself
Not
for
doubting
something.
not doubting that he would make it. Doubting that it's gonna drop when he says.
So there's 3 versions of that Cybertruck. There
Okay.
is the single motor, double motor, and triple motor. The triple motor is the one with the insane horsepower. That one's the one that's gonna
Do
be
you know the
delayed.
horsepower?
Huh?
What is it?
The triple motor is 900.
Oh, Jesus
900.
Christ. Wow.
I
That's
think
a
so. It's
Ferrari,
900.
bro.
Like it's an insane number.
what's the going rate for one of those? Like,
So it's a starting price was like 39,000. I mean, don't quote me. It's like 9 months ago.
oh really?
I think it's like 38,000. Then it goes to like 42. Then it goes to like 59 for the triple motor.
What
But
about
the triple motor is the only one that's going to be delayed an entire year.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to talk about what just happened in the news?
What
What
just
has
happened?
been breaking
Yes,
that
yes. What happened?
that Donald Trump
Oh my God.
and the first lady got COVID.
It's not real, bro.
Well, all right.
And that's what I've been hearing.
COVID's
and
a
that's-
hoax, bro.
And that's what I've been hearing. Well, I mean, I've been hearing a lot of conspiracies. I've been hearing that. So one of the main conspiracies I've been hearing has been that Donald Trump is supposedly faking the COVID because
Oh my
he
God.
feels like the debate went really bad, so he doesn't want to deal with 2 more debates or whatever.
Bro, I saw that in a comment, and like, I'm not one to comment back, but I have
Did
so
you
many
comment
times
back?
where no, it's just a waste of time.
Dude, oh my god. There's been times where I've actually like typed it and then I'll be like, no, what am I doing?
Yeah, and
Don't
then
do
at that
it.
point, I'm
Same
like,
here.
bro, I got more
Oh
likes than you.
my
Just
God.
fucking, I'm
I got
right.
more likes.
I'm right.
More likes.
Because
That means you're right.
We'll see the conversation. It'll be like 500 likes on my side, and like 4 likes on his side. And it's like, bro, like just give up.
It doesn't necessarily mean you're right though.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It just
If
means you got
you're- if
popular
you're-
opinion.
audience
at a
that-
conservative-
that bubble probably thinks
It just
it's
means
right,
your popular
yeah.
opinion, right? That's why the U.S. is a
And that
Republican. It's democratic. It's a republic.
What?
The U.S. Like
US.
we're not like everybody doesn't really vote. We have delegates that vote for us
Yeah.
Yep, the electoral college.
because we're not all fucking smart. And popular opinion isn't always right.
So
Definitely.
do you guys think because supposedly COVID does affect the elderly and Donald Trump is elderly, do you think he
74
makes
years
it?
old.
He
So-
makes it through?
Oh, he makes
Oh,
it through,
yeah,
man.
he'll definitely make it through.
You know what he's gonna do?
He
He's gonna
doesn't
use
have
that
it.
dragon energy. He's gonna use his channel his dragon energy, and he's gonna be all good.
What the fuck is dragon energy?
I don't know, bro. I heard
You know-
that shit.
You know karma?
No, so
Dragon energy is the cousin.
I think Trump has like quote on set that he has like some dragon energy. He said something like that, but I think you know him just being him. But Colby Covington, the UFC fighter, like 2 weekends ago after he beat up Tyron Woodley.
Tyron Woodley.
He had like a one-on-one like talking shit face off with Kamaru Usman, the champion, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Next time I see you, Kamaru Usman, you're dead. You're dead." He's like, "I'm gonna use my dragon energy," and like that's like a Trump thing. So like I was just making a joke.
Bro, that Fight Island's been getting to their head. They think they're in the freaking Mortal Kombat.
for
huh?
real. For when I heard that it sounded a lot cooler, and then it was just like, it's just.
What
No,
did you-
but like to be honest, like if you're asking me what's going on with Trump,
Yeah.
I can predict that the strain that he has is the weakest strain that there is now. Because if you look at the infections and the death rates, Europe is starting to open up their businesses. And so the young people who don't have any symptoms are still going out. And now they're spreading it because they don't know that they have it, right? And so infection rate has gone up,
Yeah.
but death rate is not equal anymore.
Mm.
So this virus, is like any other virus, mutates. Like the flu.
Of course.
And every 2 weeks there's a mutation and there's a change in the gene code, right? It's mutated to the point where it's not as deadly anymore.
That's also one of the things that I feel like people are very confused about whenever you go get a flu shot. People think that if you get the flu shot, you're not gonna get sick, but it's literally the complete opposite.
Yeah.
They're trying to get you. They give you the like 4 or 5 different types of flus.
No, it's more. It's like 19.
19,
Yeah.
and they inject you with the flu, and if you get sick,
They're hoping
was
that
a
one
whole-
of those
that was a
19 is the one that's spreading,
yeah.
so that you don't.
Your
you
body
don't-
can build the antibodies
Yeah.
against that. So that's why some people are like, "Oh, I'm not gonna get the flu shot because it just got me sick." Well, that was kind of the whole point of it.
That was the whole
Yeah.
point, idiot.
Yeah. So what? Did you guys watch the debate that
I
happened?
did. What are your thoughts, Martin?
Well, my thoughts on the debate was, I was watching. I mean, throughout the whole year, or while Biden has been running right for presidency, it's been chalked up for him to be like the Sleepy Joe. He can't make a sentence. He constantly forgets things. He can't form a rightful sentence. Right. That's been the whole like
Yeah.
The whole narrative.
the whole narrative
right?
about
Yeah.
Biden. So whenever I tuned in, I was like, oh, here we go. He's about to get freaking lit up.
I thought
right?
he did decent.
Well,
I
yeah,
expected a lot
definitely.
worse. I expected a lot worse.
And that's what I think happened. Like, because, I mean, even Donald Trump has been saying, like, yeah, he's dumb. He can't even form a sentence. He's falling asleep and all this.
Yeah.
So I feel like all of those things that I've been hearing in the media made me to believe that, like, I had such low expectations for Joe Biden that when he actually went out in a debate and really didn't, like, forget what he was saying. He did stutter. I noticed he stuttered a couple of times.
But he has
impressed you?
a speaking impediment.
Yeah,
So,
but I
legit.
feel like by the media giving me this such low standards of Joe Biden that
He
when
impressed
he
you.
actually did something like he didn't fuck up as bad as I
Yeah.
thought.
I think Trump was interrupting on purpose to make him stutter. I think he was doing that on purpose.
And I feel like he might have messed up with that because I feel like if he would have just let him talk and let him forget
Yeah.
about whatever he was talking about, that would have
I
worked
heard
way
I heard
better.
somebody
Probably.
speak on that as well, where they were like, maybe that wasn't the best idea to bully him in a way, like you know, by Trump, because like it makes Trump look like a bully at one, right? It makes him look like kind of what the media said he is. He's a bully, right? and then Joe Biden has that. You can kind of think about what he was going to say, and I forget. So, what about you, Jonathan? What do you think about the debate, man?
I mean, I think it's like any debate. They use tactics. These are just people using tactics because they've trained for debates. I mean, it's basically a debate is to prove how much.
Well, okay. The question is, who do you think won the debate?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, I don't think it was a fair debate. I think the interruptions ruined it.
Who was it unfair to?
It was unfair to Joe Biden.
Okay.
It was completely unfair to Joe Biden. He didn't get to talk any of his points. But I will say that there was a part towards the end where, what's that host's name? Michael or something like that.
I like him though. He's actually from Fox News, but he's very, very like straightforward.
Yeah, he's their most left wing of Fox News.
Yeah, he's more centrist for sure.
But there was a part where he was asking each of them to prove why they deserve to be president, and Trump was showing all the stuff that he's done, like all the federal judges that he's appointed. He said he had appointed 112 federal judges that because Obama had left them with.
Yeah,
and that's a tough job because nobody else has to fill that position, but the presidency is the one that nominates those positions. Nobody else does. So that means Obama and Biden were just riding the wave because their 8 years was over and they didn't have to run again, so they weren't doing jack shit that last 6 months. So they were doing us a disservice. At the same time, now we have all these judges that are more conservative because that's the party that Trump is for. Right? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, I'm not really political. I like to go to whoever's right. I don't like to join a party. But at the same time, Joe Biden, when Mike, I don't know what the host name is, but he gave Joe Biden 2 minutes to talk about why he should be president. And the issue with that is that Joe Biden was just saying all the stuff that he wants to do, right? Mm-hmm. And how long has Joe Biden been a public official?
Oh, he's been there for a while. Yeah.
So why couldn't he point out
54 years or something like that?
Like 42 or something like that.
47 years?
47 years.
Why couldn't he point out all his successes? Like, even if it's a small success, why couldn't he point that out? All he did was, like, talk about all the stuff he wants to do, and then he talked about his kid, who has a Bronze Star, which his kid, of course, may have gotten privilege at the military because it's Joe Biden's kid. And a Bronze Star, you get that for completing a mission. Yeah. And you get it regardless if you're just sitting on your ass or not. As long as the mission is complete, you get the Bronze Star.
Yeah. But either or, I mean, he had to prepare for that. He still put. I mean, no matter what happened, we can't just assume that he had a privileged role because I feel like.
I will say Trump is a fucking asshole for disrespecting his other son.
Yeah, that wasn't cool.
As
a father, that kind of like made me feel a certain way.
Yeah, I was like, what a fucking asshole.
You have a son, I have daughters, but if somebody was speaking like that about my kids, even if like they're 30 years old, I would not feel good. It would hurt me.
Of course.
Yeah. And it would give me a type of like impulsiveness because I mean at that time he can't really do nothing but. Yeah. That's my son. What he keeps saying.
Yeah, Trump is definitely a bully. But the way I want America to see this, who you're gonna vote for, is see it as if you're managing a company, and the person that you're voting next is gonna determine how successful your company is, how productive, because that's all the government should be. The government should be a forum for their citizens to be as productive as it can be. That's what government is to me. I don't know what it is to everybody else. Some people want the government to be somebody who can take care of all the little kids or feed the homeless or something like that.
That's more socialist government.
I'm not looking for that. Mm-hmm. The private sector can do that. They can. Like Meals on Wheels was getting defunded and people stepped up to the plate and fed the homeless. Okay. But I'm not saying that we should forget about the homeless or the kids. What I'm saying is the way you should look at government is how productive can this government make everybody else? Because if everybody else is productive, not just you yourself, don't be selfish. Of course. If the DACA recipients can be productive, if people of all colors can be productive, you yourself are going to live in a better environment because people are doing what they're supposed to do, which is make money, make sure everybody's safe, make sure everybody's fed.
And that's what we got into a lot. I feel like on our last podcast, the whole speech of Make America Great Again, for Joe Biden. For Donald Trump, that he was saying that's what he's running on, Make America Great Again, and we were kind of hinting at that they don't want to deal with any of that DACA stuff or any of that.
Well, at the beginning when he was first running for presidency in 2016, I was like, again, like when has the country been great? Like we've been in the slowly progress of being the greatest, but we're gonna lose to China eventually. So at what point were we great?
Well, in what way are we gonna lose to China?
Productivity. They got more people and their capital's gaining. So at one point, they're going to be the country with the most money, and they're going to decide who gets to do what, who. Because the U.S. gets to dictate a lot of things.
From a financial standpoint, maybe you can make that argument, right? Because China is just like a big power player.
Yeah,
in the
and
world
one
market.
thing, is you cannot say China has not cheated the U.S.
Oh, 100%.
There've been so many spies caught.
So my father-in-law works for this oil and gas company, and he actually, before COVID, he would travel to China once a year because they have an office out there.
Uh-huh.
And he said, no matter how he feels, but he said, one thing about Trump, he put China in their place.
Yeah.
He said, and that's honestly one thing I commend them for.
Yeah, but the thing
is, they were like stealing so much intellectual property.
Yes, they were.
So what means is like they will figure out how us Americans had made this formula to like process this oil to make plastics, to make all these different things. And so what they do is they just make a company over there and do the exact same thing you're doing.
Stealing.
So now, or like they technically didn't steal this computer from you, but they steal knowing how to make this computer, which is a lot more valuable than stealing the actual computer.
So if you don't care about patents, like, okay, whatever, let China do whatever they want. But if you determine in your own thought process that patents are important because they make you money, not just you yourself, but the rightful person that created them, it makes them money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're inventors. Should an inventor be awarded?
Yes.
Yeah, of course they should, because they should be feeding to invent more. They should be fed.
And Martin, are you aware what patents are and how they work?
How do they work?
It's intellectual property. It's things that you can't copy because you've rightfully said that by law, this is your item.
Okay.
And if somebody else copied it, you would lose your item, your money.
And
you would lose a way of revenue.
You can sue, exactly.
So the U.S. is so productive that we have places like Monsanto, which people hate, or 3M. Some people don't hate them, or they do. Basically the same type of company. They just invent things. We have invented corn, right? The U.S. has. If you look at corn, like elote and stuff, like that's not what corn used to be. We made it like that. And China went ahead and copied the corn. They've been caught trying to copy the corn because the corn kernel has a serial number on it. That's how productive the U.S. has been, that we can put serial numbers on corn. So if you think about our electric cars and how productive it's going to make us, because people are going to get to work faster, they're going to get to work on time, they're going to be safer, there's going to be less accidents. And then you just think about China taking it from us, even though we've put years
we always go back to China, like what we said.
Yeah.
Somehow in this every single episode I think we've talked about.
Yeah, and the whole thing about Russia being a competitor, they're not a competitor compared to China. China's the one that's on our throat. The other one is Nigeria, and nobody talks about them. Mm-hmm. There's nobody else on our throat like China is. Russia is not a superpower. They are a really rich country, but they're not one that can take down the U.S.
I don't know. I feel like I would just disagree with you on that. Maybe because we don't see it as them constantly stealing our intellectual property, or just really like competing with the U.S. and their market share in the global market. However, Russia as a whole has always not been the enemy, but like that person you always, or individual in this case, or let's just look at them as an individual, right? Mm-hmm. That you always have to look out for.
But they've had so many failures.
When you think about it, Russia hasn't.
Look at all the countries they've lost. Well, between Europe and Russia, like they've had nothing but failures because they can't manage. Mm-hmm. They can't manage so bad that they've had a presidential dictator for so long. That's how bad they are at managing their system.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I was saying with that is like Russia hasn't been along for so long. I mean, when was the Soviet Union like taken down? Yeah. The revolution that happened, and there's been so many there. What I would say is that I do think Russia is a major player as a whole, but from your standpoint, we're looking just from the economic standpoint. China is our biggest threat.
Yeah, they've also been caught stealing potatoes.
Potatoes.
Yeah, if you think about McDonald's, their number one moneymaker, that's the French fries. Because the special potato is formed to make those French fries. Now you also think about potato chips. They're expensive as fuck. Man, fuck, 2 bags of potato, $2 a bag. Like, fuck. I never even looked at the price of potatoes, but I'm like, $2.19 for a bag of Lay's. Like, fucking finish that in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's funny how you just brought that up, because I remember, I think it was like on Tuesday, I went to go pump gas, right? And the freaking machine wasn't working, right? And I was like, God damn it. So I went inside, and I was like, you know what? I'm in here. I'm just going to get like a bag of chips or something.
You cheated on your diet.
I got it, and I put it in my cart, right? And I paid for it.
Call Felipe.
And and I paid for it, right? And it was like, fuck. Dude, did you not understand what the whole podcast was about?
No, just keep going. What?
Sorry.
What's up?
No. Oh, yeah. So I was like, can I get $25 of gas, right? And then he's like, it's gonna be $28.70 something. I was like, what the fuck? $28.70 something. And what else did I buy? And I looked at a receipt, and it was like $3 for a bag. And I was like, damn, bro. Like,
I got some friends that have gas stations, and they make the most money off of the convenience of having stuff inside.
You know, you can mark that shit up. You know, because you're literally buying it for the convenience, right? Because you can go buy a much bigger bag. HEB, but
you know what?
The convenience of buying it there.
I'm fucking lying. It wasn't the chips. It was a fucking. It was a no. It wasn't a chips. No, I'm not gonna let you. I'm not gonna let you fuck me up. It was an energy drink. It was an energy drink. It was some vegan water. No. It was an energy drink.
It had anti-calories.
It was an energy drink that it has like
negative calories.
It was an energy drink that has a B12 or whatever and stuff.
Okay,
and I picked it up. Good. And I picked it up from there, and it was like $3. But I remember clearly that. I buy them at HEB. I buy like 7 of them because they're $1 a piece at HEB.
Okay.
And then at that thing, I was like seeing like the huge markup. I was like, God damn, that's so ridiculous. But back to also like when you were talking about Russia, how they might not be like a big grand like
I don't think they have the capabilities to take down the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, they have been known for infiltrating us like through internet, like Facebook, and all creating all those troll accounts or whatever.
Of course.
What are you guys' thoughts about, like, I was having this thought randomly when I was working at work, and I thought about just, like, jotting it down, you know, for this podcast, because that's what I do. Like, I'm working, and then sometimes I just get, like, a random thought, and I'm just, like, I drop it down on my notes.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, what do you guys feel like about having, like, if everybody on the internet was verified, like, not with a blue check mark, but as in, like, maybe
this person's not a fake profile?
Some kind of, like, ID, you know, that verifies who you are.
Martin, bro, you are a very smart guy.
Yeah.
I mean that because that's actually a very smart thought process that you go through to think that. And I think that is literally where, like,
let me finish my point
by laws.
Yeah,
that's
so
gonna happen.
Like the internet is kind of like a free roaming place, right? Where everybody just goes in. You can make as many accounts, whatever account you want, and create it. And I was thinking maybe like if we all were verified, had our IDs, that would eliminate so many like Facebook comments, people tweeting random crap at random people, not even knowing who they are, you know, leaving reviews on Amazon, you know, like being like, this product sucks or whatever, when you're clearly the competitor of that headphone company, you know. And, like, I feel like that would eliminate so much crap that's on the internet.
A lot of people like to blame that on Russia, but I think there is an issue with the VPNs. There's a lot of VPNs in Russia, so whenever they discover that, I'm being threatened by a competitor, and all these emails and all these reviews are coming from Russia, Russia's killing my business.
Can you explain what a VPN is, just for
basically, if you're using the internet, it's probably tying to your IP address, and that's getting internet from Chicago, right? And so they can track exactly who's the one buying that internet, right?
Okay.
And a VPN goes from, it's coming from Chicago, but it's heading towards a place and then to your house, right?
Okay.
So that place is Russia, and then from Russia it goes to your house. So Russia will create a server that will mask your IP address for you.
It helps keep you secure, actually.
So that they don't know it's you.
Exactly. They don't know it's you. They don't know your location. They don't know, like, you know, it's like better, especially since we buy more things on the internet now for, like, security reasons for your, like, credit cards and things like that.
And a lot of VPNs are built around Russia and Belarus and all those states that they lost. And I think people assume that Russia's against us in all these little ways. Like, nobody gives a fuck about your social media post, right? Like, in a big scale thing. Like, Russia's not watching. Like, Russia's not watching to see what you're doing as an individual, or the NSA is not watching to see what you're doing as an individual.
Yeah.
But the issue is a lot of our laws can be loopholes in our laws, and Russia is a place that can allow for those loopholes.
Yeah. And that's what I found. Especially whenever, like, that girl, what's that, AOC, whenever they had Mark Zuckerberg in whenever
Senate?
They were roasting him in the Senate, she was asking him, like, so if I post like a fake post about me, like, if I'm saying like that I'm about to win and that I'm like right there and I'm gonna win, like, would you take that down, or are you gonna verify that I'm almost close to winning or whatever? He's like, well, Senator, like, basically he went all the way around just saying, like, no, we're not gonna take it down. Like,
But now I've seen more often of Facebook be doing that. Like, hey, this is fact check. This is wrong. This is
fake news.
Fake news. We're taking this down.
I was going on with the California pedophile.
I remember you had brought that up.
I was gonna share it, but not to share it as news. Share it as in y'all are stupid for believing this. And when I clicked California, it was a post going on Facebook about.
Bring your gain down a little bit.
Yeah,
bro.
bring your
Sorry.
gain down a little bit.
You're like picking like way hard.
Right here.
Yeah, bro.
This way.
That's good.
There
right
you go. You go.
Okay, so and it was going on about California making sex legal up to the age of 4 years old or something like that.
Okay.
And it was, I mean, obviously it was fucking fake, but there was a lot of people sharing it, and I was gonna share it and say, I mean, y'all are fucking stupid.
So
for
you know
believing
what? Okay, so today I took a screenshot of all the fake news I saw on Facebook.
Oh,
I knew it
nice.
was gonna be on this podcast, and I was like, okay, let me show people why fake news becomes a thing, right? No, I'm good. Okay. Wifey told me not to drink.
I think fake news spreads 6 times faster than.
I heard that in
Okay,
the
so
social
the title to
Yeah.
this screenshot that I sent, I'm not gonna put the person on blast for sharing it, but
Yeah,
it says,
of course.
"Today is my birthday, and many don't want to share my photo because of my condition." And then emojis, and then
saw
you look
that.
at the website and it says hozobo.com. Like, who the fuck is like, oh yeah, Hozobo? They post.
Actually,
I saw that picture.
I actually buy my shirt.
It's like,
called
okay,
Homeless.
There was a lot of people. There was a
It
lot
was
of
like,
people
okay,
sharing-
like,
I know exactly what
okay,
post
so
you're talking
let me
about.
talk about in 2013. The reason I deleted my Facebook or got off Facebook in 2013 because when I was like 17, I was 17 in 2013, and they were reposting on Facebook like, Jesus loves you and share if this is true. Or
Oh,
like,
yeah.
share
I
this or
hate
you
those
go to hell.
messages, man.
And literally, my timeline was full of that, and I got tired of blocking or unfriending people. And I was like, I'm gonna just delete this. This is stupid. I don't want to get on Facebook and feel guilty because I see a picture of Jesus Christ. Like, of course, my limbic system is still in my brain telling me, "Hey, that's Jesus Christ. Believe him." Like,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
raised that way.
Yeah.
Okay, this other post says men must have sex at least 21 times a month to avoid prostate cancer. Expert. And
saw that as well.
It's a lot of sex.
there's a blank and it
That
says
might be
West
true.
Africa.
That may be too much for me right there. Sorry, baby.
It says West Africa reporters, and then the website that it's linked to, right? Because it's right above the context. It says westafricareporters.com. Like, oh yeah, that's. I want to go to that website and share everything from there. And then there's a picture of like a fucking diagram of the penis, like
Yeah. Well, honestly, I
very-
first looked over and I was like, "That's a penis, bro." I was like,
so
"What's the penis
scientific.
guy?"
Let me share this.
I
Yeah.
forgot what podcast said that they actually they made a link that said he's a liberal, the guy. So he made a link that said why you should vote for Trump 2020, and everything that was on the link was against Trump, but all the conservatives they all shared it because they don't
without
even,
reading it.
People don't even bother looking at the link. They don't.
See,
They
I
don't
think
read
that's
it.
so weird. I
They-
ran into that with some family members where they were sharing me like some information,
Yeah.
and then I'd be like, okay, I see the caption, that makes sense. Let me read it because it's a family member.
Let me read
Like,
it and actually be informed, right?
Yeah, because
People don't
okay,
read
they share me something. I'm like, okay, maybe they want to have a conversation about this. Let me read it. I read the article and I'm like, hey, did you read the article? Like,
People
I
do
read the
not read
headline.
articles, man.
I had a question.
well, I
I
want to
don't
go through. There's two
Oh,
more slides.
okay, go ahead.
And
Yeah,
I want-
go ahead,
or
go
three
ahead.
more. The other one is
Take it easy.
here Yerba Buena con. Fuck, it's in Spanish. Remember, you read this shit.
I'll read it.
It
I
says
was like, what are you talking about?
Hierba buena con romero regana cartilago. I don't even know.
Let
What
me
that
see.
is.
Let me try.
The next more Mexican guy, but
All
that's
right,
one that's Martin.
And the most Mexican kiwi.
Okay, hierbabuena con romero regenera cartílago dañado de cadera y rodilla. So basically, I don't really understand it, but hierbabuena it cures
Cartilage, right?
like pains, of your knees and
And then it has a
and
picture of a
hips.
plant and a picture of a swollen knee and then a
Yeah.
diagram, right? And it's like, oh, okay, that's scientific. Let me share this.
Okay.
Like, who the fuck actually went to curaconplantas.com?
I don't know, man. That sounds pretty
What?
legit.
that's some shit.
Okay.
Like,
Then
don't
this
cast
other one,
fantasy,
bro.
a
Cura
COVID-19
Complantas.
nasal swab test punctures a woman's brain lining
Oh my
and
God.
leak brain fluid from her nose. And everybody immediately thinks about, oh, when that thing went up my nose, it hurts. Let me share this. This is scary, right?
Yeah.
And then the fucking link goes to shosha.com. Like, what the fuck? Like, are you fucking serious? And then it literally tells you 2-minute read. Like, bro, take the 2 minutes to read this shit.
People don't like reading.
But people want instant gratification. That they don't want to read for 2 minutes, man.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, you look at the website, where it's coming from. Like, don't share fake news.
Don't share fake news.
It's impossible though. It's
Going back to
impossible.
that hierbabuena thing, do you think it's it's part of the Hispanic culture, not going to the doctor?
100%.
Okay, so honestly, the whole Mexican culture, I think, is based on placebo effects.
I feel that a little bit with
to an extent, yes.
The egg rubbing, dude. The egg rubbing.
But that should be feeling. I'm feeling hella good afterwards, though, bro.
No, honestly, I do feel hella good after that.
My grandma's like,
how are you gonna go and say?
Hey, hold on. Yeah, be quiet.
That is a positive placebo effect.
Hold on, it's like,
Dude.
and then my grandma's rubbing the fucking egg all over me.
That's creepy. You hold really still like a fucking puppy.
Explain what the reg rubbing is for.
Oh my god, yes. All my white friends are about to be like,
Scream
what
into
the
the mic.
fuck?
Yeah,
Don't scream
is
into
our
the mic.
audience even that large where they're like, what the fuck are y'all talking about eggs?
All right, go ahead. So, Jonathan, explain what the egg is.
Okay.
All right, here you go. Here goes Jonathan.
So
Okay, go ahead, Jonathan. Go ahead.
Basically, they rub an egg on you. They say a prayer, okay, and whatever is mad, look at bad vibrations or el ojo malo,
Or
which
bad
is like
energy.
the bad energy. Like they looked at you with envy, right? So you got this bad karma or on you or something, and they'll rub that egg on a part that hurts or your whole body in general if they don't know what the fuck's going on.
We're talking about
And
an egg.
After that, they'll put it on a clear base of water and they'll crack the egg and they'll inspect how the white of the egg made a form and how the yellow of the egg, if it has any deformities. And based on what the egg does when it's in that glass of water is going to determine what kind of pain you're in and why you're in that situation.
Something like that, yeah, for sure.
Think about it as, let's say you don't know. Us, we know about it because, I mean, it's part of Hispanic culture.
Yeah.
But think about it, you don't know anything about it. You walk into a house and there's a lady rubbing an egg into, like, dude, that's fucking creepy, bro.
Right?
It is. And that's why, like, nah, don't do that shit to me.
Yeah, no,
And
for
then
sure.
they pour it into, dude, what the fuck is that?
Poured into the fucking
That,
water.
that is some pretty crazy
I
stuff.
had a question for you guys. I've noticed like in my Facebook, like a lot of my Hispanic like cousins and stuff, they're all like really like pro Donald Trump, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, what the heck?
It's
And-
showing a lot
they're-
in this election.
And also,
because these last 4 years has probably been good to them.
and also like,
Are you talking about, are they in Mexico or they're in here?
they're in the valley, so like almost
Well,
right
actually,
there.
the Valley has a lot of Trump supporters, bro.
Exactly, yeah. And then also I was noticing that well, not noticing. Sorry.
Let's talk about that, but go ahead.
Yeah.
When I was watching the debate, you know, whenever he got asked to, what did he say? To say that he's not for white supremacists, right? And he couldn't
He didn't
say
denounce it?
and he said to the Proud Boys, stand back,
Stand back and stand by.
stand by. Like,
So-
okay, like throughout this whole 4-year campaign that he's been president, everybody's been calling him a racist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by not saying that white supremacists is bad, like by not denouncing white supremacists and telling them to stand by, that kind of like proves everything right. And
To
if
an
you're-
extent,
and-
I think it does, but and not like I'm defending him, but this guy has to win an election, and like even like I feel like he just can't. As bad as this sounds, I feel like if he would have just said like, "No, this is bad," Black Lives Matters, he loses all his followers.
But you know what's dumb about that, Noe, is that's the reason.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's what.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he's just trying to win.
I get your thought process, but what's dumb for Trump to do that is that's the reason people voted him in the beginning because he wasn't a politician.
100% correct.
They voted for him because he wasn't a politician. He wasn't looking to run just to win. He was looking to run to make America great, right? He wanted to prove a point that he could do something. And to be fair, he has done a lot in the last 4 years. If you actually look at the stuff,
I would like you to talk about that, Jonathan, if you can. And I'm not saying I don't disagree with you because I actually agree with you that he has done some positive things, but I just could never vote for him if I could vote.
But
I
now-
would like you to talk about that. If you
one
can.
more thing, like by him saying that by not denouncing white supremacists, how are those people? Like, how do Black lives, like not Black lives, but how do like African American people or Mexican people, like, do you still stand by him when he's clearly saying he's for white America only? Because that's what he's saying, right? Or no?
Can I say something on that?
Go ahead.
And I feel like you can maybe relate to me. I feel like when you become a father, man, and when you really start, like, I pay for my kids' insurance a month, $700
Okay.
out of my paycheck overall, like in 2 paychecks, so $350 a paycheck around there, or so. No, I think all my deductions are like, or something like that. But it's a lot. And the reason why I say that is because, like, once you get to this point of life, you realize, I'm like, maybe this person doesn't just vote for him because he's a racist. Maybe he doesn't just want to go pay back his bad insurance. You know what I'm saying? Or go back to like an Obamacare plan. where now that pretty much means like if you don't have health insurance, you're going to be penalized for not having health insurance, because that's the way for them to say everyone pitch in so everybody could pay less, you know. But now, let's say for example, you were somebody who you had a very critical condition. You were working with this doctor for 5 years, and then now he's not in your network anymore because Obama came in and switched his plans up, right? So now you're just like, dang. So that, like, and sometimes I feel like my friends or my close friends be like, do you defend Donald Trump? I don't defend Donald Trump, but I just try to do things from like, why do people vote for him? Because not everybody's racist. Right. You know, I've met people who are Trump supporters.
Imagine this. Imagine if the presidential debate happened without any voice or name, and you just saw a context of person 1 and person 2, and you just decided who's right.
But that's not the way it is.
Yeah, but wouldn't people think differently? Right? Like,
but life has always been about context.
Right?
Even down to like the Romans, the Greeks, you know, how they were
and
brought
I
up
think that's something in our limbic system where we want to relate to somebody. Like, okay, so like if you're meeting somebody for the first time or something, like you want to break the ice, right? Why is that so important? Right? Because if you don't, there's somebody else to you. And there's no way you can connect with that person if they're being their actor and not themselves, right? So if you give something, or if you ask them how their day is, right, it kind of opens up to where it's not like this is a stranger, right? It's the whole reason why we want a border. People don't like strangers. They don't like other things, and it's in our system because we're not supposed to like other things that aren't like us.
Yeah, that's kind of the book Sapiens talked about. It's we've evolved so much in the last 100,000 years or so.
Not even 100,000, bro. 2,000 years.
Well, yeah, it's smaller than that. But even then, like when we were used to be in the prairie lands, hunting and gathering, to now, it's not a long time for like.
That was when America was great again.
Right?
What do you say?
That's when America was great.
For sure.
It's such a short time where like,
but back then,
our brains are not.
We were so tribal.
Okay, if there's a kid that ends up being raised by wolves, it's not going to automatically know how to be human. Because that's literally who we are, and we're being raised in a different environment. So for somebody to say that we're a product of our environment, it is true at some point. We are a product of our environment.
I agree with that.
But at the same time, we have some things that are genetic that have been bred into not just our DNA, like our bone structure, but our brain structure as well. And you see that with kids. You start to see like your kid doing stuff that you do, and it's like, what the hell?
No, that is a perfect example, because Joe Rogan says kids out the box are different. I'm sure when you had your son, right? Oliver.
Get it right. Hey, shout out to my boy Oliver.
Shout out to Oliver, man. He's a cute ass baby, man.
Shout out to Olive as well, breaking the bones.
All right, Martin. Anyway, but you see your kids, man, right from the get go, they're just different, man. Like when I see like my youngest daughter, I'm like, you are so young, you cannot learn anything yet, but you behave differently than Rosie, which was my first daughter. And then I'm like, it just shows, and that to your point, 100%. Genetically, man, we're just wired a certain way. That is like we're just so related to what we used to be. What we seems like a long time ago, but it's not. That it's like why we were tribal, why we want to build walls. Back humans, you knew 100 humans your whole lifetime. Yeah. Now you go to a class with 100 humans, and that's why it's so popular. That I feel like in a way, why
And again, that's why that what's that documentary called about social media?
Oh, the social dilemma.
The social dilemma, right?
Social dilemma.
Remember when they were talking about building the like button?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I was on my phone.
Okay, so why was that so popular? Well, because that made a connection. Like, okay.
Dude, you're drunk.
I don't know what
No. I wasn't watching the social dilemma. I was on my phone because that's what the whole movie's about.
Dude,
bro.
Me too. I was on my phone.
I like to watch documentaries, so I paid attention to it.
Me too.
And the like button's important because it connects you with another person, right? Like that person interacted with you, right? Like, and what I was talking about kids, like you get to see who they are because they start building a personality, and some of their personality is like their mother or their father, and that proves that genetically we inherit things from our ancestors, and it takes a long time for it to disappear. And the fact that we have just got an internet in the past 100, not even 100, 60?
Internet?
No, internet's like 20 years old.
20 years, yeah.
Right? Like,
well, 25 years old.
Okay, how many generations would fit in there? 3 or 4? How many generations would fit in it? Like, you could probably squeeze 4 in there.
Yeah.
But for that person,
technically 3, 4, maybe. But three
for that
sure.
personality to go in there, right? Like we're still the people that we were in the 1960s. We're still the people we were in the 1920s, and we're trying to cast a vote to make a change based on the president. Like, just you're asking for the impossible. Change happens slowly. The reason progress happens slowly, right? Is because it's a slow process to progress.
Mm-hmm. Great point.
Hey, going back to the Latinos for Trump, I feel like
you're the president.
Latinos for Trump. You saying all these people from the valley. In 2016, 2015 actually, Trump's campaign was based on what?
Build the wall.
Build the wall against Hispanics.
Yeah, I was asking.
And Hispanics were 100% against it.
Yeah, of course.
In 2020, his campaign is against who? Black people.
Yep.
Now Hispanics are starting to switch up because the racism in the Hispanic community, it's so big, bro. But we just don't talk about it. There's a lot of our grandparents who are like, they don't like black people,
dude,
because they don't grow up around black people.
Well, I think it's like an ugly thing. And at first, I don't think Donald Trump's opponent is black people at all. I think it's what he calls the left, which like identifies. Which people have identified Black Lives Matter as super left. But, go watch episode 4 and Lawrence will talk about it. But, nah, man, I think it's so ugly that our, heritage at some point, it has that some type of, in a way, I'll be honest with the camera, some type of racist prejudice as well.
It's
which for myself,
exactly
I'm not gonna
prejudice.
teach my kids that whatsoever to be that way, man. It's such an ugly thing. Even when I was in college and to think that let's say because in college it's so diverse, especially when you go off to university, if I would bring a girl who happened to be black, what would my grandma say? The fact that that's even a thought, you know what I'm saying, is it's such an ugly thing. But I don't know. It's also, I feel like it also happens with the demographic that our ancestors or our grandparents are in Mexico where there's not black people.
Noe and Yair, is that it's not just Mexicans that think that way. There are some black people that I've seen, because from work experience, that there'll be a what do you call it? A mixed race couple, right? Where it's like a white male with a black female, and a salesperson that's black is be like, oh man, look at that bullshit, and it's like, what the fuck?
It happens.
It's like, why would you? And so it's just thought in general, regardless of skin, why would you think that a white man being with a black woman is so bad? Who do you when it comes to a relationship? There is a dominant person. It could be the woman that's dominant. Why you got to think negative out the box? Because I know for sure he was thinking negative because he thinks as a man he's the dominant one, and the fact that he's with a black woman to him looks so wrong.
Well, the thing is, and it's I hate to just go so against you on this one, bro, but I feel like I have to say is I feel like we just, as somebody who's not black, we cannot speak on how they feel on this, bro, because we weren't enslaved by the other people, bro.
Yeah, but that salesperson wasn't.
To extent, he could have been rooted this since he was a kid. You could never know what his dad went through, what his grandpa went through, what he has seen. That I guess it is. We're still making the same point because he has a prejudice, right? Yeah. And his prejudice was based on a certain bias, but
I'm saying he wasn't enslaved.
Yeah, he wasn't, but his probably his grandma, his great grandma.
So we are a product of our environment, right? And if that environment were to change, right, to where nobody is, I'm not saying forget our history at all, but I'm saying stop thinking so negative out the box out of some things, right? Always try to find the positive from things.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. Right? I 100% agree with that.
So whoever wins the campaign, whether it's Trump or whether it's Biden, let's as the U.S. think positively for that person, because if I vote for Trump and Biden wins, I'm not gonna say fuck Biden. I'm gonna wish him the best, make sure he stays healthy and he stays coherent and he can talk to the other.
I feel like also as a country we've lost our unity.
100%.
100% we lost that.
Like the United States of America, right? I don't feel like it's that
staying
anymore.
at home didn't help that either.
No, it didn't help that. And that's when let's get into another big conspiracy. Do you feel like sometimes when you really no, this is so crazy, but now that everything is playing itself out, it kind of does sound like some of this was just premeditated, pre-planned.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh.
Stop the economy and make people go crazy, incite these riots. Because I saw this analogy. You put black ants and red ants in one jar. They're in there, they act fine. But if you shake that jar and you spill them out, they'll fight each other to the death.
They'll blame it
who
on
is
each other.
shaking our jar that America is right now? You know what I'm saying? So
Who's shaking our jar?
yeah,
I feel like it goes back to the
Russia.
China.
not Russia, but I
so
feel
why
like
would Russia shake our jar?
well,
I don't know. What do you think?
Because honestly,
think they
bro,
are.
because the world is probably tired of American imperialism, bro.
Look, if you want to talk about conspiracy theory, there's one that I made up on my own thought.
Okay, no, yeah, go ahead.
I believe that we
What
were
we're
putting a
talking
lot of. This is my own conspiracy theory.
I want to hear it.
I
and
believe
it's
that
ours
we-
now. It belongs to Off the Bench Podcast.
This is the Jonathan experience.
we got Alex.
Jonathan.
we got
Hello,
Alex Jonathan
freak
Gutierrez.
Don't
Jones.
put, my
on the
name, don't
podcast.
put my government name out there. Imagine if I'm right. It's fucking CIA.
Okay.
Anyways,
Go.
you know how we were being hard on China? We put tariffs on them. We raised it by like 50% on the tariffs just to
we did.
tell them to stop fucking with us on the trade. Okay, I believe China and this virus came from Wuhan, which has a virus facility.
Laboratory there.
And the thing about viruses is that for it to cross from animal to human is a very rare occurrence. There has to be a particular part of that virus structure that changes in the genome. Okay, and we were just advancing on this thing called
Go
CRISPR.
ahead, brother.
I don't know if y'all have heard of CRISPR, right?
Of what?
CRISPR?
Yes, CRISPR, the gene editing software.
Okay, so there's a protein that was built, and we call it CRISPR, and it can literally take one of the letters in our DNA strands,
Yes.
and change it, and then the RNA will come next to it and find out, okay, you look pretty close to what I am. Let me duplicate you, and it'll duplicate that change, and slowly the entire DNA process will be duplicated, right?
Yeah.
And so that letter in that DNA structure for that virus, because the virus doesn't have DNA, it's all RNA.
Yes.
So it's looking for other RNAs to match it. It had to have changed on that letter specifically. Now, it could be a coincidence, but this is like the lottery times 100 for this to happen.
Yeah.
And for it to be next to that facility that works on viruses and is next to conveniently a facility that sells animals that are wild and shouldn't be next to each other and are taking shits on top of each other and all that. I mean, do we know where it came from? A bat, or did it come from that weird possum or whatever the fuck it is?
Well, like from hearing Joe Rogan from one of his podcasts, he had a biologist there, right?
Yeah.
And he was saying how there's a lot of proof. He wasn't saying that it came from the lab, right? But he was saying that there is a lot of proof because, like, for simple like things
Possibility. There's a lot of possibility.
yeah, for example, like, you know, COVID spreads best whenever you're indoors, right, and not when you're outside. But that's because if you're creating a virus that mutates in a lab, the lab's indoors, right? It's not outside.
The air's not moving.
The air is not moving, correct? Yeah. So, right, just there, I mean,
So my theory on this conspiracy is that China created this virus. They blamed it on their own state. If you look at their numbers, they're the most populated, one of the most populated cities that has the least amount of infections. Okay, so they either weren't testing people, or they were killing the people and not letting them get tested, right? And
What's that on that? China executes the most people per year in the whole world.
and
that country.
then the U.S. ends up getting this virus, and who is the one who is the most infected?
the United States.
The United States ended up the most infected,
Dude.
and we have one of the most modern hospitals systems ever. How the hell did we become? It's not because we're the most social country. You talk about most social country. There's fucking Oktoberfest in Germany. They're the most social right now.
Yeah.
And the fact that we become like a target of the most infected, okay, and that it didn't kill us. Imagine China saying, okay, that was us, and we created that virus to where it doesn't kill y'all.
And
because
our
we wanna
president
prove a
has
point.
it, bro.
We want to prove a point that we can create one that does kill you. And we will send that virus out to where it does kill you. And you'll see that we will only kill 50,000 of our people, but 3 million of yours will die.
Well, 200,000 so far have died.
Okay,
Yeah, 200,000.
but I'm saying infections.
Yeah.
Look at the infection rate. And imagine if the kill rate of that was like 90%.
Okay, I see where you're going because I can't wait to hear this in the podcast. Just kidding. But what you're saying is like they send out a virus showing that we can like make this shit go.
Yeah,
crazy
they're checking us. Like,
Okay,
yo, bro.
yeah.
let's
And
that's
see
actually,
what
they
you're
just
doing.
hit their main target, dude. They just hit the president of the United
And
States.
I feel like their main target may not even be the president, bro. It's literally the people. And if I can piggyback a little bit off like your conspiracy, even deeper than that, I was talking to my grandma about this, which is kind of crazy today. I said Los Americanos.
Wait, you talk to your grandma about conspiracies?
Bro, I'll talk to you.
Some next level stuff.
I'm gonna tell you some stuff after this when we offline.
Wait,
But,
hold on. Let's take a break.
Yeah, let's take a break. Let's
we
take
do
a
a
break. We'll be
podcast
right
with
back,
2
guys.
breaks?
Coming back.
for sure.
Shout out.
We can do a
Conspiracies.
podcast with
It's
a
going
break.
down. Wow. 2 breaks in 1 podcast.
Come on.
Dude, 2 breaks on 1 podcast. This is probably the longest podcast we've done so far.
Wow.
But I'm not even mad about it, you know?
I'm not even mad, man. I feel pretty good.
And then we just got another guest come in here out of
another
nowhere.
guest. Is he on the screen?
I don't know. His back might be too.
He
Here
might-
we have Yair.
Yeah, but we have a really
It's
cool
young
guest.
Jamie.
I haven't
What's
seen
up,
him.
bro?
Yeah, say what's up, man.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hey, man. I bore Javier from West Texas here, man. So,
Wait, we heard you brought a little gift for somebody?
yeah. You had a little
Yeah,
gift?
I brought a gift for everybody, actually.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, man, these
Nice.
guys have been dead for a while, though.
Ay, Dios mío, what is? Oh, these are Mexican too. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, man.
You want right now? I'm gonna chill right now. I'm
Here
chilling.
we go.
You want?
I'm gonna have to pass on this one, bro.
You gonna take it home, bro. That's what you
You
do.
can take it home, bro. You
Oh,
can take it home.
go.
You can take it home.
My souvenir.
Hold up. I'm gonna finish mine, and then
Oh, these are really good.
then I'll drink it.
Okay, these are like micheladas, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Already come prepared.
Yeah, put mine up right now for right now. I'm
So
gonna eat right
I'm
now.
riding solo with this one. It's all good.
All right, so we left off where you said you were talking about conspiracies with your grandma, so.
Yeah. So one thing we were talking about, right, is the last thing about like how China and the conspiracy you had, Jonathan. And one thing I was telling my grandma today is, piggybacking off of what Jonathan said, is that here in America, naturally, man, we're a country built of rebels. You
Okay.
know, like fundamentally, our founding fathers committed treason, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing to position it as our founding fathers, they rebelled, the Boston Tea Party, they fought against oppression, they fought against taxes, XYZ. But at the end of the day, what they did was commit treason against the higher country, which was Great Britain. So whenever you develop, you convey that conspiracy theory about China did everything, if that would be to be true, one thing that would be considered was the way Americans will react to this, right? Because now we're picking sides on mask and no mask, when we clearly know mask would help. The rest of the world sees it, like, I sometimes see on Facebook when, like, somebody just clear from, like, another country, Germany, New Zealand or something, would say, do you realize how the world looks at America right now? You know?
And that's
Like,
what I was
like
making-
this, they have clearly said, mask is going to help you, but yet people are saying, I'm not a sheep. I'm not going to wear a mask.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And where this is going next is actually how I started with me speaking to my grandma is because I was messing with her. I was like, "Oh, they found the cure." And he's like, "Oh, really?" Because she's tired of the coronavirus. I mean, she's an older lady. She's just at home. But when I brought it up, I was like, what's crazy, Grandma, is that people here in the U.S. Once even there's a foolproof vaccine, that's going to be the next issue that's going to happen in 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna vaccinate, quote unquote. This is me quoting somebody, or not technically, but someone's gonna say this. I'm not gonna vaccinate my kids, but now the kids can't go to school.
Mm-hmm. Well, another topic is, I think I read only one. I think it's only 1 in every 3 or 1 in every 4 Americans is gonna get the vaccine first, and the topic was who's gonna get it first. It's not gonna be for everybody.
You know what
Obviously,
they're gonna
at first,
say?
there's too many people for it to come in all at the same time. So who's gonna get it first? Who do you think? Rich people or for
I think
frontliners?
not by now, but not by rich people. But I mean, of course, technically they still would get it first. So in a way, yes, you're correct, because their resources will allow them to get it first.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I think now it's just like the masses. I think there's going to be a bigger problem of people not taking the vaccine, then how are we going to get this vaccine to people at the fastest rate possible?
There's a way to convince people.
How so?
So basically this is gonna happen. I already thought about it, and the way that the government's gonna have people get the vaccines is not by keeping their children from going to school. They're gonna tell them, hey, we're only shipping 1 million vaccines, and they're gonna be out in 3 days.
Oh, so kind of like a drop.
People are gonna be fearing it. They're gonna be like, oh, only rich people are gonna
That
get
fear
it.
mongering is crazy.
Now I'm gonna get fucked because only rich people can get vaccinated. Let me go get vaccinated. That's how they're gonna get people to get vaccinated. Like, okay, a million more vaccines are coming, but it's coming in 2 months, and then the infection rate has spiked, and then everybody's lined up to get that vaccine already. That's how they're gonna control everybody to get that vaccine.
That's a good point, man.
So kind of like a slow drip throughout the
Yeah, they're gonna.
population.
It's a pull and take, just like in sales. I mean, if somebody wants a good deal and they know it's the best deal they've been getting, but they want to see how much more they can get, just pull the deal away and be like, you know what, you were right. That was a good deal. Let me go ahead and take it. It's just psychology. It's just what happens.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing, man. And one thing I wanna personally, and anybody who's listening to this and anybody in this room, is learn more about behavioral psychology. Like, whenever you say something to somebody, how do they react? Where do they place their hands?
Yeah.
How do they look? Where do they look? Why?
So,
And especially me being in sales.
yeah.
And I'm meeting with people who are CFOs, CEOs of company over 100 employees or so. So these usually are like really like, you know, people who are very sharp, where I have to be on my A++ game to even like, you know, make any type of like conviction of my message to them, right? And I feel like that's one thing I feel like I'm constantly being analyzed, right? So,
Oh, of course.
so like, in which I would do the exact same thing, which I'm trying to do the exact same thing. And I think it's very important to understand behavioral psychology. And how
Yeah,
people work.
the key about meeting somebody with a lot of power like that, somebody who is a CEO, is to just be yourself. Because as long as you try to act like somebody else, at one point you're gonna fail at acting like that other person.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I've seen CEOs from like Massachusetts and Boston where like they have these private schools or like these schools that require a lot of money to be in.
Yeah.
And I've seen CEOs in Texas, and the way these people behave is so different. In Texas, like, these CEOs are so different. They want to know about your childhood, how you were raised, if you were raised on a farm.
I love being from Texas, man.
Yeah,
I love
and then
Texas.
the CEOs from like Boston and Massachusetts, they just want to know, like, what do you care about? Do you want to be rich? Like, that's all they care about. It's like, and I'm not saying every CEO from Boston and Massachusetts and the East is like that, but I'm just saying from experience, I've seen a lot of Southern CEOs that were raised in the South. They act differently towards people, and behavioral psychology is important. I mean, that's one of the classes that I took in college. I dropped out of college, but for those who
Still making a lot of money, though.
well, that's what goes back to my point, where you don't have to be the smartest person in the room to be the most successful. But the one thing I did take from that psychology class of behavioral psychology is that there are 4 pillars to emotion, and the first pillar you understand as a kid is your emotions: what's sad, what's mad, what's happy. The second pillar is understanding how to control your emotions. Okay, I'm mad right now, so I should watch what I say. The third, or like when you're mad at, like, think about when you're a child and you did something bad, and you know you did something bad, and you know you're gonna be in trouble, but you just gotta face it, right? Or your parent is mad at you and you're so pissed off, but you can only cry for so long, right? And then it hits you and it's like, okay, I can't be sad anymore. Yeah. The third pillar is understanding how other people feel, right? And it's the fourth pillar that will really make a difference. So if you're looking to make a difference in how you can interact with people, this fourth pillar will allow you to get along with anybody. And so it's understanding your emotions, understanding how to change your emotions, understanding other people's emotions, and then understanding how to change the other person's emotions. Boom. Once you can master how to change the other person's emotions, that's when you can master how to navigate yourself through a conversation with, whether it's a CEO from wherever it is.
Okay.
100%, man. I think you made a great point. Anybody who's listening to that is golden advice and golden information, because that really is. I feel like if you want to be successful, and especially if you want to be successful in any facet of business, right? Which it can be so many different things, but the fourth pillar is what takes you from making $60,000 a year to making $150,000 to making $300,000 to making $1 million a year. You know, how can you influence someone else's emotions?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And not just influence them in a bad way, not influence, not manipulate, right? Because it's completely different things.
Mm-hmm.
Influence them to be the best that they can be, so you can be the best you can be.
Mm-hmm.
So your company can be the best it can be. And this contract you're about to execute is going to be the best it can be for both parties.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Going back to paying attention to people's reactions, one thing I pay a lot of attention to is how people joke around.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, for some reason, the way the jokes that people make tells me a lot about how they really feel.
What do you mean? Give us an example.
Give us an example.
Let's say we're all pitching in for pizza. It's a random, and one guy doesn't pitch in because he doesn't have any money. And I don't know, I make a joke. Oh, this guy's eating the most pizza, but he didn't even pitch in. Oh, okay, now I know that in the back of your mind, you're already thinking about that.
It's clearly important to that person who said that.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. And you know it's not important for the rest of us, but if you're that kid in the group who didn't have money to pitch in, okay, now I know you notice I didn't have money to pitch in.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a random thought.
So for that person, what do they do with that information?
It's just
Because
it
that's
tells
the thing.
you how that person really feels.
Yeah. So that's the thing about that. It gives you a shortcut to that third pillar.
Mm-hmm.
And as a person receiving that comment, it's your job to do what you need to do with that fourth pillar. And be like, you know what, you're right, man, I'm on hard times. And it quickly changes that. And that person will have more respect for you.
Okay.
Yep. Acknowledging what he said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. You're right.
Yeah, there's a thing called mirroring in psychology. And it's basically
That's so
somebody
important,
said-
especially in business.
in business.
So important.
Exactly. That's a mirror right there. I just repeated what you said and you just gave a little more information about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the basic thing about mirroring is whenever you don't understand something, you want to be on the same page as somebody, you just repeat the last few words of what they said in some way.
Yeah.
And they will say more information to make sure that you're on the same page with that person. So if you're ever in a situation where you don't understand why somebody did something, like your wife, right?
Yeah.
Because one thing I will say is that men are so easy to understand. Women are impossible to understand.
Or very hard. Very
They
hard.
are the symbol of chaos, man. They are the ones that will
yeah.
create things out of nothing. And that is a strength. The fact that they're able to create something out of nothing is incredible.
Yeah.
As a guy, I can't. Okay, to tell the waiter that my order was wrong, it's too much work for me. I'm
Yeah.
cool. I'll eat
I'd
it.
rather eat
But
it.
for my wife to be like, hey, he said no pickles. What are you doing bringing this thing with pickles? Like, okay, thanks, babe. Now I'm getting another burger.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't need to do that, but
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
appreciate
slice
it.
them off my patty.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I think that came up to me whenever you were talking about the manipulation and what was the other
Mirroring?
Yeah, and mirroring all that stuff, like not being the same thing. I was coming to think of like how companies nowadays I feel like there's a new type of monopolies, because like before monopolies used to be like the Rockefellers with the oil companies.
Oil, actually, the railroads. That's what actually
Yeah, they would
started.
buy everything, right? And I was thinking about how now we're being manipulated by, like, let's say like Netflix, for example. Like they create shows, right? Everybody goes to Netflix to watch shows or movies, and now they've started to create Netflix originals, right? And they're the first ones to pop up at the top of the search thing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking now, like, is that a new age of monopolyism? As in, like, because they used to be just a streaming service, right? They would buy shows, movies, and stuff. And now that they have that, like, on lockdown, now they're starting to invest in making movies.
Spotify's doing that too.
And Spotify as well. Like, whatever creator
That's so
they
crazy. I remember when Spotify started getting going in like 2012,
Yeah.
2013.
But I think that's more as of not somebody trying to manipulate, but that's somebody paying attention to what's making the company money.
Yeah, buying patterns, man. At the end of the day, their CEO, CFO, their C-level executives have a job and obligation to their shareholders to make the most money that company can make.
So there are certain things that these
And that's what
companies
they
will
need to
say
do that.
in their quarterly meetings that will cause the sales of the stocks to spike, right? So the thing about the Netflix originals is that the Netflix originals is less money up front for more return in the long run. And as soon as that was proven in the financial statements, Netflix stocks went up. So now what do? Well, it wasn't a lie, was it? Or even if it was a lie, you still need your stock to go up.
Yeah.
So post your originals in the front page and make sure they get more clicks, because that's what you said. You said that your Netflix originals are less cost up front and more money in return. So you got to make sure those get more clicks.
Yeah.
Because
I
your
guess
stock
what I'm
went
trying
up
to
because
say
of it.
is that, like, is it fair though? Like, what about all the other people who are making
It's capitalism, bro.
Well, if it's not fair,
But is the non-monopolism in the new age though? Like,
No,
is it,
the
I
end
wouldn't
game-
think so, no, because Time Warners can still make their shows, like Hulu can still go make their shows,
Yeah.
Amazon original. It's still
the
not
only problem,
monopolized.
and to his point, the problem that Time Warner and Warner Brothers would be having is capital. So Netflix has so much money
So much capital.
that they can just make 80 movies at one time and only 3 have to be successful.
Exactly.
Warner Brothers doesn't have that type of capital, and it's because if somebody's investing in movies, they're going to rather put it in Netflix than in Warner Brothers, right? So it is kind of hurtful towards the other competition, but it's rightfully hurtful because people
I see what you're
make more
saying,
money that
bro,
way.
and in a way, it could look like a monopoly. However, like, there's just still too many other big players in the play still to really be considered a monopoly. However, I would agree with you so much that their influence they have, it's so grand, so vast, because they have so much capital to take these losses, right? To make
Yeah,
these
of course,
bad
of
movies.
course.
As
Like,
long
they can
as you
try
get
so
one
many
really good
failures.
one that was a Netflix
Yeah.
original.
I guess
There's
what I'm...
there's something called Price's Law, where it dictates who does the most work in a company, right? And it's just an algorithm. It's like if you look at Price's Law of the candy that sells the most, right? There's only like top 10 that sell the most, and all these candies that have been invested, these million candies, they don't sell as much, right? And the same thing goes for social media on Price's Law. It's only these profiles that get the most likes out of the entire network, and the rest don't get as much. So it's the top 10 or the top 1% where they call millionaires. It's only this 1% millionaires that get all the money, and the rest don't. So this algorithm looks like it's quantitative. It goes up exponentially,
Yeah.
right? And so if you try so many things, eventually you get a success, and that proves Price's Law is correct.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that I feel like, because I brought it up multiple times in the podcast, that I feel like our law is really behind on technology and the internet and all of this stuff.
Which I think is another great point you made in the podcast, which our laws are being written by very old people who are not, which nothing against old people, but they're written by people who are just not up to date in what's going on right now.
Yeah, and
But y'all are looking at it totally negative, though, because monopoly is only a thing that was invented by people. Monopoly is not something invented by the government.
I thought it was invented by the government.
No. Monopoly
please
became a
educate
thing
us.
because the people were being price gouged. They knew that product is not supposed to cost that much, so they started raising their.
But who made the legislative, like, you know, who made the legislation that monopolies were illegal? Because monopolies are illegal.
So in business there's a thing called and I'm too far into this whiskey to
wait,
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I am far into
there
this
is-
whiskey.
there is-
I'm trying to figure out, is your point saying, are you trying to say that monopolies are okay or an okay?
Yes,
Fuck,
they
I gotta
are to a
pee again.
point.
Sorry.
Monopolies are okay to a point. There is a vertical business and a horizontal business. And the vertical business is how much of what you need to cause that business to happen do you obtain, right? So if you're in the business of, let's say if you're in the business of selling Christmas trees,
Okay.
right? If you become the only person that plants Christmas trees, well, then you have one of those verticals, right? And if you become the only one that can ship Christmas trees, you got another one of those verticals.
Yeah.
And if you become the person that can cut Christmas trees, you become another one of those verticals. So there's less people to pay to get to the product to the consumer, right? Now,
But
if
now you
have
buy
that
out all the land.
yeah.
where
Now,
can
if you have
plant-
that vertical business on Christmas trees, and then you start going into Christmas in general, like you're buying all the Santa Clauses, and you're the only one that can make it, and then now you're buying all the presents, and you're the only one. That's when you become a monopoly. When you
Okay, but to that point, not just Netflix is doing that, right? Making Netflix originals. What about Amazon creating Amazon
Prime, Amazon
Am-
Video,
What?
Amazon Video.
No,
Prime.
no, not even that. They're products, Amazon products or Amazon.
Oh yeah. So like
They're ruining
yeah.
people's lives. They're creating. Dude, the other day I went on there to see because my sweatpants that I wear to go to sleep started ripping at the knee. So I was like, I'm gonna go on Amazon, see if I can order some.
Yeah.
They have the Amazon choice, like the one that Amazon makes.
Yeah.
And I order them for $6, and they come with a little Amazon tag in the bag. And I'm thinking like, okay, wait, what about all the other people that make sweatpants, and why is their sweatpants at the very top of the
So
thing?
the argument from
that's
Amazon.
that's not a monopoly. I mean,
No, it's not, because the argument for Amazon is that they help the consumer buy quality sweatpants for $6.
Okay, but they don't help the whole United States. Every other person that's creating sweatpants, that's creating running shoes. I buy. I do photography on the side. I buy a lot of photography stuff. There's Amazon flashes. There's Amazon bags. There's Amazon USB chargers. There's
Yeah.
Amazon. They're taking over everything, bro.
But that's because you're buying on Amazon.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm buying on Amazon, but Amazon didn't start as a manufacturing company. They started off as a place where you can go put your stuff for sale, and they would ship it out and sell it for you.
The moment that becomes a monopoly and you can sue against that company is whenever there are better products for less price that are not available for you.
Okay,
That's
but
when
also,
that becomes a
but
monopoly.
also, okay, and the way I guess I'm seeing it as a monopoly is that they're not only like creating the distribution for everybody, they're not only creating
If
products.
anything,
Hold on.
Amazon is an oligopoly, which is the one major player in the market.
Okay, but they're not only creating products, now they're also shipping their products with their own trucks, not using postal or UPS or stuff.
Correct.
Which there still are, but
Yeah.
you can make the argument that they're trying to move away from that by creating their own delivering system. And like, at what point does that get?
That's what I was talking about when you get those keys of vertical and horizontal businesses, right? Now, when you get the transportation of your products, right, is it hurting the consumer?
It's not hurting the
If it's
consumer,
not
but it
hurting
is
the
hurting
consumer-
everybody else. That's
But
trying
it's
to
also
make it.
going into a different industry as well now. You know what I'm saying? So now
Yeah.
you can't say that Amazon has a monopoly over UPS and USPS, FedEx as well. You know, just because, in a way, I feel like we can't condemn them for being self-sufficient, because I feel like that's overall what Amazon has done, is become self-sufficient to give the buyer the best experience possible.
Now, it's Amazon's responsibility to stay a monopoly.
Exactly.
It's
That's
their
what I'm trying to say.
And you know what they've done is they actually showed the public how much carbon emission they've emitted, and they said we emitted too much carbon emission without the people telling them they emitted too much carbon. They owned up to it themselves and said and they set themselves a goal, by this year we're going to emit less carbon emissions. So if that's positive for the consumer, positive for the environment, and positive for the US, at no point should that monopoly be ruined.
But I feel like with them saying that, I feel like they're using it as like a, like I believe they are gonna do it, but I believe it's also like a fluff piece. It's just like, hey, back off, like we're making it.
But at the end of the day, if
They
they
gotta
said
prove
it, they have to prove it at the end of the year.
Okay, yeah, no, I know that, but I mean, again, as I go back to the monopoly stuff, I feel like Amazon now it's taking over video. Now it's gonna go take over music, and now they're talking about creating spaceships too.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole different.
I saw that.
company, technically.
Well,
saw that.
exactly. At what
Legally, it's a
point-
different company though,
There's-
and the
it's
EIN,
Blue Origin.
the federal EIN number is going to be a whole different EIN number, so you
Okay,
can't
but-
call it a monopoly.
Well, no, not a monopoly, but I'm saying like, at what point do we start like saying like, hey,
But
at the
why
point when
should
you
we
start
even look
saying-
to stop them?
So yeah, at the point that you stop them is when it hurts the consumer, or it hurts the environment, or hurts the productivity of the US. That's when you go and stop them.
So if Amazon was able to employ 99% of the United States, that's still good. Like,
If it's better than the government, then that's a good cause.
Yeah, I think overall as a whole, Amazon is good for society we live in right now, because it does also help small businesses.
And no,
Not
going
all,
back to
but-
I wanna-
to what you said about the US being rebels, right?
Yeah, naturally we
that's
are.
the reason Amazon's allowed to be in the US, because if for some reason we didn't like it, we would just rebel against it. That's why the founding fathers weren't stupid. If you look at what they wrote down, bro, like these were the smartest people out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they took shrooms or whatever the fuck they took, but they came out with this idea that was insane. There was like 56 people that were there when the Constitution was being written.
and they were all young too, bro. They were like
Yes,
36,
it's
Except
28, 27.
wasn't Benjamin Franklin wasn't.
And these were all
Benjamin
entrepreneurs.
Franklin was the oldest.
yeah.
They had entrepreneur mindset because they were going to a country that had land. The only thing they had to offer these people was land. There was nothing
Which
else
is
to
really a
offer.
really good thing to have, because land does not depreciate. It's a fixed thing. In the
It
world.
can depreciate.
It cannot depreciate.
Yes,
it's an
it can.
accounting law. Land does not depreciate. Bro.
It can.
Who told you that?
What are you talking about? Go buy some land in Zimbabwe. Tell me if it's worth more in 2 years.
No. Okay. No. It's literally an
All right,
accounting
explain
law.
your
Go
point of
talk
view.
to any CPA right now
In the
and
US.
tell them, does land depreciate?
As long as
it
we
does
have
not
inflation.
depreciate. You know why? Because there's fixed amount of land in the world.
Yes.
There's a fixed amount of land. You cannot create more land. You can create a lot of more things. You cannot create more land. It's a fixed thing that when you get, you're gonna get your full value price for it that you paid for, or you can get more for it.
But I guarantee you,
Especially
there's
here in the U.S.
there's a piece of land in Galveston that you can buy that won't be worth shit in 3 years.
No, it will be worth the value they paid when they bought it, or it will be worth more. I guarantee you that. It is
'cause
literally. I remember going through accounting, and literally that was literally the number one law, that when you saw something that had to do with land, it was like, okay, well, we know that doesn't depreciate, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's
Land
good.
does not depreciate.
No, and your thought process is correct, but there are times where, and this is called arbitration. It's arbitrage. There are times where land does not have a value.
I kind of agree with Jonathan, because I would think back to like maybe the days when Detroit was on fire, right? And people
It doesn't matter if you agree, bro. The last land, like that is literally how accounting works.
No, you're saying no, because your
I'm
argument.
saying
Land
land
doesn't
can
depreciate.
go down in value. Look at what happened in 2008. Every house went down in
No,
value because it's a
see,
land
but
that
the
they
land
own.
is one thing. The house is completely different.
But they both went down in value, both of them.
Land
You could have
doesn't go
knocked down
down
the
in value,
house,
bro.
built another one, and would have been
find
worth
out.
less.
Yeah, go ahead and find out, young Jamie.
Look it up.
No. But I get what you're talking about. In the long term, if you look at it in a 90-year perspective, it'll be worth more.
Look,
Yeah.
this is what I'm gonna have. which we are. I already have it on the works. We're gonna have a CPA on the podcast,
Okay.
and
CPA?
we're gonna go back to this question: does land depreciate? I've been taught since they're going through school that land does not. That's just what I've been taught.
But I
It
think
makes a lot of sense
what
why.
he's saying is that land can depreciate within like a 30 to 40 years.
What I'm saying is these founding fathers took a risk to get this land, and they wouldn't take it if it was a no-brainer. There would have been more than 56 people in that Constitution.
I mean, you also have to think about different variables. Were they allowed to be in that environment? Were they allowed to even be in that room? Did they own even enough slaves to be in that room?
Yeah, they're slave owners too. I mean, that's what happened in the.
I mean, it's just an example because that's how wealth used to be measured back in the day. So it's like, were they even allowed to be in that room? Because all those men that you talked about were probably at the time very successful businessmen.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, of course, that was back then. But, yeah.
So to the point where like these laws, they're based on old theories from back in 1776. It's not a bad thing that they're based on those theories because these are principles, and principles shouldn't be changed.
Mm-hmm.
They should stay firm, just like the foundation of a house. It shouldn't be something that changes constantly.
Well, going back to the point of land, it's I feel like both of y'all are right in a way. Well, like you said, land. There's only so much land you can buy there. You can't make some more. But it says the economic benefits will be consumed. Like in West Texas, let's say oil is big right now. You can buy property and it's not going to devalue it. But if oil in 50 years, we're not using it anymore. I mean,
Or if it
what
runs
are you
out.
going to do out in West Texas? There's nothing to do.
But I guess also like to counter that and he's saying.
It's not what I'm saying, bro. It's literally the accounting laws, bro. The accounting rules. Like that's not what I'm saying, bro.
Okay, so you're just quoting something that you've read or something.
No, rather I've been taught
Well,
by
that's
these
a law,
like
that's a
accounting
law.
professors. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I'm sure there's a minimum and you can go under that minimum.
yeah, for sure.
It's-
Well, I mean, literally, I mean, like,
But-
we're talking too long about this, but we'll have when we're gonna have a CPA on this podcast, and they'll be able to settle that out. Because I'm been taught for so long, and it makes a whole lot of sense. Land does not depreciate. When I talk to my coworkers, when they buy land, I say, yeah, man, that's a great investment because it doesn't depreciate. Yeah, that's very true. You know, like you buy land right now, out there in Rocher and out there in Pearland, right? Land right there, you buy for $250,000. You buy 10 acres of land. In 10 years, you're not going to get less than $250,000.
Of course, you'll get more,
Man.
yeah.
You're going to get more,
Mhm.
or you're going to break even.
But if you buy a fucking iceberg in Alaska, is it going to be worth more in 10 years? Maybe by
But
like
is that
$1.
really land, though?
Huh?
That's technically not land. An iceberg's made of water. It's in water.
Okay, so if you buy
like
a piece,
it's not land.
okay, so if you buy a piece of Galveston and then it goes underwater, is it still land?
That's true.
Yeah. So, anyways, right now is the best time to buy a house. I will say
It
that.
is.
I had a customer tell me that lumber went up in price like 4 times the amount.
Hey, so what do y'all think about California just passed a law that they're not going to be able to sell gas cars by 2035.
2030
Man,
something.
that
That's
is
so
2035.
crazy, man. When anybody ever tells me that, like, I want to move to California as an intellectual, I look at them and say, fuck no.
As an intellectual.
Why not? Okay,
Because of the taxes, man.
Okay,
There's
but if you got
crazy
the money
fucking
for it.
taxes, bro. So for what I do, it has to do with payroll, what I used to do. So I remember we used to go through these mock studies, right? So like a client works in California, kind of figure out the taxes.
Yeah,
how
yeah,
we're
yeah.
going to take them out and pay everything.
But it's also going to be
it's
the
only expensive.
Bro, they would have here in Texas, we don't have a state income tax,
Mhm.
which is a huge beneficial, especially people who make a lot of money, man. You don't have to worry about that,
Yeah.
okay? So they have a federal income tax, of course, which we all have.
Yeah.
State income tax, municipal tax, city tax, and then sometimes we'll even have like 3 other taxes, man.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm talking about you're looking at like an extra $250, $300 off your paycheck.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're already not making a lot of money.
Well, what if
And
they are?
Also, okay, what if they are? Cool. But the thing is, the majority of people are not. So now, also, because it's also perceived as this, like, awesome place to live, because of Hollywood and all that stuff, it has drove up the cost of living. That's why you see these people who are, like, even freaking Ben Shapiro is moving to Tennessee. Do you know what Ben Shapiro is, Martin?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not an idiot.
No, but to what Yai's point is that America's a land of opportunity, and if you move to LA, there will be more opportunity available for you to make more money. Whoever.
Even in the music industry.
Well, no, of course, music, video,
that's
100%.
That's the point that I'm trying to get across.
Yeah, but the reason
it's only
people,
expensive.
The reason
to
people
you,
are moving
to you.
Yeah.
If they got that money, shit, go for it.
I'm telling you, bro, it's not. I have a certain bias. I don't think it's like that.
People from
I think there's opportunity
California,
for that.
Yeah.
Florida.
But for overall, for like me and you, move out to California right now. Anybody in this room who moves out to California, what we're gonna do?
That's why I'm not moving to California. But if they can do it, and if they like it, go for it.
Is your position
100%.
available in California?
Yeah, 100%.
So then you
100%.
can move to California,
And I wouldn't want to.
and they would pay you more.
They would pay my base salary a lot more.
Yes,
100%.
exactly. So that's the
However,
point.
I would still make less. My
your
quality of life will be less than what it is now
course.
if I would live in California.
Yes.
That's why I love Texas.
Yes. But then if you got promoted in California to your next level position, would you make even more money than what you would here?
But if I got promoted in Texas, I will make more money.
Your net gain.
No, my net gain, I think it would still be higher in Texas now.
Really?
I don't think it would be higher in California. It would be higher in California, net gross, because I would make more money on paper.
Uh-huh.
However, my taxes will be higher,
Yeah.
meaning that I will make less money to take home to my family.
Yes.
Now it
That's
really
what's the most important
depends.
thing.
It really depends on where those taxes are going, and I believe that's why Californians are moving to Texas, because now they find out that their state income taxes are not going to where they thought it would go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also, I actually remember 2-3 weeks ago, I was like, "Hey, I'm going to Austin tomorrow, or whatever." I went to Austin, man, and they say it's very similar to California. I was surprised, appalled, honestly.
Goddamn.
by the number of homeless people they had everywhere, bro.
Really? They had a lot.
Oh my
Yeah, that's a mini
God.
California.
Well, the thing is, it's because
My
where
goodness.
did you go in Austin?
Bro, I was staying down on it's some nice ass apartments with my fraternity.
Near downtown?
Yeah,
That's the
Well,
thing.
well, of
if you go to
course.
downtown Houston, you're gonna feel the same way.
Dude,
but
that's true. That's
but
true.
however, I had the same thought pattern. I told my boy Chris, which is gonna be in the podcast as well. I said, bro, well, I was like, is this just kind of like how Houston, because it's near downtown? He said, no, man. He said, Austin changed their laws. Like, it's a city where, like, we just can't kick these homeless people out. They can just, like, post up and just make a freaking tent. Like, bro, like the way he explained it to me is like, of course, right now, you technically live in the suburbs, right?
Okay.
But if you were, like, living in Austin, this same house, how it looks, a homeless person could legally go on your front lawn, not on your front lawn, but like
What, and take a shit?
on the other side
Yeah,
of
who
the
gets shot?
Yeah, like, where's this going?
No, but
Texas,
hold on.
motherfucker.
Hold on.
Still
But
Texas.
on the other side of the
got
of the
Going
sidewalk,
around some
Yeah.
and literally post up right there, build
Make a
up
tent?
build up a tent, and you can legally not kick this guy out.
Really?
What?
Wow.
Have you looked it up, or he?
That's what he told me, and that's what I've been seeing in San
I'm sure there's a
Francisco,
point
LA,
where-
and a lot of that stuff. Right
But
there.
I'm sure it comes to a point where you can kick him out. Like if you see him loitering and loitering, you can probably kick him out.
I don't know, man.
Imagine
I
that guy
mean,
has like an extension cord.
Like
to
I
your
said,
house.
like I said before, like I do photography like on the side or whatever, and I do a lot of photo shoots in downtown and on Main Street, dude. It's looking like they like land of the dead right there, bro. There's just people just like I'll be trying to take photos and then I don't know. Oh,
That's
can I
what
get
I'm
on?
saying. Because when we go to
God
Austin,
damn.
we only visit downtown.
Uh-huh.
Most people.
So
if you go to Lake
what the fuck
Travis,
are you
it's
gonna-
really
what are you gonna
fucking
do in the
nice.
suburbs, bro? Like what the fuck?
Huh?
Why would you visit the suburbs?
Well, unless you got a friend in the suburbs.
Well,
but
he's
I
saying-
mean, if
that's
I go to
what
New
I'm
City,
saying.
I'm
When
not
we
going
go to
to
Austin,
Austin.
we only go to 6th Street. You know, the
Yeah,
main
of course.
things.
But he's saying
So-
when you go to
Don't
like
go
Lake
to
Travis
Six, bro.
or
Go to
like
Lake
Lake
Travis.
Travis. Six is too ghetto.
It's the complete opposite. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with Houston.
Well,
People
how-
that come to Houston and they go to downtown. If you walk the streets of downtown,
Homeless.
if you walk
Dude.
Main Street at night.
dude, I have
And
a story. I have a story. Like the other day, I was huh?
I said, boom, go ahead. Tell your story.
So like 2 months ago, I got a road bike ride, and I was really excited to start riding or whatever. I told that funny story where I almost threw up and shit.
Well, you almost
Passed
died.
out. Yeah, I almost passed out.
What?
Anyways,
When you were too broke to pass out.
yeah, I was too broke to pass out. I couldn't afford an ambulance to come.
Wait, oh, you were talking about when you were exercising, and they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
I've
yeah,
never
yeah,
felt
yeah,
that blackout still.
Yeah. All right, that's not the story. That story's on
Okay,
episode. The story's on episode
Have
2. If you want to
you
go check
never
it out.
felt tunnel vision though?
What?
What do you
Tunnel
mean?
vision,
Like
where,
literally tunnel vision?
Like you can't
Oh,
pay
no.
attention to what's next to you, only what's in front of you.
No, never have.
All right, hold on. Let me finish the story. So, I was riding my bike. I was riding my bike from downtown. I was gonna ride my bike from downtown all the way to the medical center, toward Timber Park, and then turn back around and come back. Right. So I went and did that. I was riding down to medical center. I was coming back, and I seen this like whole like encampment of like homeless people. Right. And I literally saw one guy take a shit on the side of the sidewalk, dude. I'd never seen that in my life, bro. I've never seen that in my life.
Scarred.
This is how he did it. And then this is how he did it, dude. He pulled down his pants, right? And he just like...
Paint us a picture.
Okay. Imagine him standing up straight, right? He's standing up straight. He goes down and puts his both hands on the concrete, right? So he's on a V shape now.
Fucking animal.
He's on a V shape now. He pulls down his pants. And then he starts taking a shit, and I'm riding by, and I'm like, looking at him like, God damn. I'm like, damn, they were literally taking shits on the side of the sidewalk, and I was like, at what point?
That's crazy, dude.
At what point do people start like noticing this kind of stuff and like moving them out of downtown? You know, but it's
Okay, so everybody wants to find a fix of homeless people, but like what I'm wondering is like, what causes this shit?
There is no moral, correct way to get rid of it.
Because there's so many problems in life.
Yeah, what are we gonna do?
Do you think this is mostly?
I mean, like, no, well, it's just so many variables, man.
So like one thing I want to point out.
Generalize homeless people because some of these people are like ex-veterans who just could not fit back in, and American imperialism is one thing.
Imperialism?
American imperialism.
Like what we brought people from other countries to be
No,
homeless?
no, bro. It's like the way we were, like, literally have taken over the world since 1948.
You think that caused homelessness?
After World War II? Or what?
Yes, in a way, yes. Because, okay, what I think is like some of these people, and it's so good to talk about it because I've never been a soldier, but when I hear these things I feel like some people just fear what they saw or what they did when they were deployed, and now they come back and they just can't live in a regular life.
That's a good point. That's a good point. There's this clinical psychologist named Jordan Peterson.
I love Jordan Peterson.
I was gonna bring out the book. I decided to bring out this dog instead.
That makes
Smokey.
No, I was
name is
literally.
Smokey.
I was holding the book in one hand and holding the dog in the other. And I was like, "How the fuck are they all gonna?"
You did the right
read?
thing by bringing the dog.
I was like, "How are they all gonna read this
That one's
book?"
actually appreciating in value. That's like that fucking stupid
I
book.
was outweighing the value, and I was like, the book is more valuable than the dog.
Hell
But
no.
I don't understand how all three of them was going to read
To
this
Martin,
book.
bro. He's passive aggressive.
Hell yeah.
But the book is called. So individually, the book would
Your
mean
ass
more.
up and drink that shit.
100%. And the book's name is 12 Rules for Life, and it's by Jordan Peterson. And the reason his Harvard class became very famous is because in the principle of his Harvard class, it was all about how if you were in World War II and you were in the Nazi party and there were some Jewish kids that you were ordered to kill, would you kill them?
Would you kill them, Martin? Right now, answer that question.
No,
Well,
and I'm not
I mean-
expecting an answer. I mean, the moral answer is
mind.
no.
Yeah.
The moral answer is no. You would not kill kids. Why in the world? These kids are innocent. They don't know anything. Okay?
Of course.
But his point is, at the end of the class, you're going to understand why people killed kids.
But wouldn't it be because like they were like not brainwashed, but kind of like just like super deeply involved
It
in
all
that
comes
stuff.
down to principles. What principles did you have in life that made you?
But even that, like I feel like even our veterans, they got so indoctrinated of hating like Middle Eastern.
Yes. So the people, the ones that go off to Afghanistan, and if you talk to Marines
Iraq.
and stuff, they are taught from their supervisors to act a certain way with these people,
Mm-hmm.
and they gotta block out the fact that these people are human,
Yeah.
and they come back to the States where they don't need to act that way, and
They don't know
it
how to
fucks you
fit
up
in
because
anymore.
these people are awake for longer than 16 hours. They're awake for a very long time, and if they start shooting, they can't go to sleep. There are times where they don't sleep for 3 days because they're being shot at.
Yeah.
Okay, and
That's
think about
crazy.
your brain 3 days awake,
Mm-hmm.
and you just hear constant shooting, and sometimes the noise, it sounds closer to you, and sometimes it sounds further, and then your friend gets shot, right? And you have to know exactly where they're shooting from. You don't see bullets don't fly with lights.
Unless some bullets do.
Yeah, if they're trying to
They're like the
make
little
sure.
laser tracers. or
Yeah,
whatever it's
but what I'm
called.
getting at is these
Star
people
Wars.
come back.
No, they do. I'm serious.
Star Wars.
We're trying to keep on a straight line. You're fucking threw off the wagon, dude. God damn it.
Anyways,
Well, all right, going back
whiskey
to the
talk.
these people come back to the States and they're used to this brotherhood of being next to somebody and sleeping next to that person because they're going to watch their back. And now they got to watch out for that neighbor that doesn't like them, or they got to watch out for the people that look bad about them, and they can't look for help either, because if you look for help, maybe you can't find a job, right? You get screwed. Like there's this
It's
whole
just
process.
A tough situation, man.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation.
And also, like, I feel like in the Army, you're taught to be self-sufficient, right? Not ask for help. And
Well,
I
no,
feel
you
like-
well, in
do
a
ask
way,
for
you
help,
still rely a
but
lot for your partner.
It's very
right?
personal help.
Yeah.
It's not like help like, hey,
Random
neighbor.
person.
The
I
government
feel like-
helped me, but my friend will help me.
I feel like that's every man though. We hate asking for help.
Yeah, we
And-
do.
and,
Especially
dude,
the
I go to
Mexican
Home Depot.
man.
I'd rather spend 30 minutes looking for something.
on the fucking phone.
And,
Google
yeah, I'm
shit.
like, fuck, where'd I find? And my wife is like,
Boy,
dude, you can literally ask for help. They're right there, and I'm like, no, fuck that. I ain't gonna ask for help. I got it.
I'm not a bitch.
I'm a man. I don't ask
fucking
for
man,
help.
babe.
Dude, no.
I fucking find this fucking
And I feel
screwdriver.
like most of us are like that at work. We hate asking for help.
Yeah. Yeah.
all right,
it's-
you guys. Well, I think
We're at
No,
a
but-
stopping
2 hours.
point, bro.
But hold on. Before we wrap
Oh,
it up,
shit, here we
because
go,
we're
another 20
at
minutes.
2:41. God dang.
the
Or
camera
whatever
died.
it is.
The camera died.
Uh,
The camera's dead. It's not recording.
bro,
2 hours
fuck,
ago.
he's drunk, bro. Go fix that, bro.
All right, so we kind of ran out of the video portion of the podcast, but we brought it back to live. But yeah, we're gonna continue with our guest Jonathan. We've been having such a great conversation. We've been talking
Such
about
great
conspiracy
conversation.
theories. We've been talking about the elections, the debates, all that stuff. And I think it's all. I feel like this has been one of the greatest podcasts we've done so far, episode 5. And I feel like it's just so fluid because I feel like Jonathan has been with us since like high school. We've known him, and we've seen his transitioning from like a student to a business person
To a full
family-
professional as
to a-
well.
to a professional, a family man, and it's just been like so awesome to have you on, Jonathan. Thank you for coming out, bro, for real.
Yeah. And is there anything really, right, as we're closing this off in this last segment, like, you can say, like, what's your message, or is there anything important to you that you would want to, like, let our listeners know? You know, like, if it comes to, like, profession, personal, fatherhood, what's most important to you? What would you want to say right now?
I mean, I think my most important role in life is being a father.
100%. Amen to that. Thank you, God.
So if somebody were to ask me what's your most important message, just be like, I'm talking to my kids, right? So like one thing like about life in general is that sometimes life charges at you like a bull, right? And you can either fight, fly, or stand by. And the worst thing to do, in my perspective, is to stand by.
Stand by.
Yeah, because even if you flight and you go away from the danger, keep in mind that what you did and learn from that, because it can lead to failure if you choose to do so. Now, the one thing that's always led to success, and it's not always the right thing to do, is to fight and to grab that bull by the horns, because like I was saying earlier, I don't believe in karma, I believe in energy.
That's
And
episode 2.
to
get into that
to
one.
get on that topic is life.
Oh, right now.
Life and you as an individual is a two-way street. Life is gonna feed you energy, and you're gonna have to feed it back energy. And depending on who feeds who energy, it's really a game of luck. Life is gonna choose to give you as much energy as it decides to do so. You're not gonna be in control of that. So if it's giving you a lot of energy, you gotta give the most you can back, because that's the only part of life that you can control.
Yeah.
And so if I'm talking to my kids, I'm going to let them know that there's going to be bad parts, good parts about life, but what you can control is the amount of energy you give life.
Yeah, I like what you said about just standing by, because there's a quote that says, neutralism always helps the oppressor, never the victim. If you choose to, like in this case, not vote, you're choosing whatever side it is, you're helping the oppressor, never the victim. If you choose not to do something about it, you're always helping the oppressor.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
so never
100%.
stand by. Either pick a side or or like you said, what's up?
No, I wasn't laughing at you, bro. This guy tried to grab some freaking ice, and there's nothing but water. He's trying to grab the water with his clamps, bro. Fuck.
So what's up? What do you think about it?
Nah, man. I think it's overall a great point. Now we'll get into the different, hopefully the different podcasts about how I believe there's karma out there in the world, and in the way is similarly just how energy. I mean, literally when I texted you today, remember the address, and you said, "Bro,
I was on the phone with Yulitza, and she was like, "Hey, do you know the address?" And I go, "Oh, you're right. I should probably send a text and ask for the address." And next thing you know, you DM'd me the address, and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Yeah, you take me, bro, and I said, "Bro, it was the energy. Like the universe told me to tell you this
the universe
stuff."
told him.
And I firmly believe in that. I mean, probably with anything on weird, I don't care. I think energy is real. Like the energy I feel off Martin's, passive aggressive ass. I'm just joking, bro. I love you, man. No, I'm just joking, but it's there, man. Energy that you deal with anybody. But I do feel that what you put out into the universe, which that being the energy, and it's like what you get back. It's very real. I've experienced it firsthand in many different reasons, in many different ways, but something we'll get into differently, man. But in life, adversity comes to you, like Jonathan said. I believe you have two options. You really don't have one, because there's no such thing as staying the same. You either get better or you get worse. That's my personal philosophy. If I stayed the same, and I didn't stay the same, I got worse because somebody else got better, or so on and so forth.
No, that's an important thing to say, but keep in mind, not everybody can handle that. And I will say this honestly, is that will eat away at somebody's psyche if they believe that there's only two options, because if they get worse, the spiral down is so quick that they believe they are never going to get better. So that's good, because you are strong enough to take that, but not everybody's that strong.
Yeah, and the thing is like, and I'm sorry if this offends you, but I am okay with not everybody being as strong as me, not physically, but mentally.
Alpha male.
Like I like if that's not strong enough for you, if you feel like being neutral is like you need that third option, cool for you. But guess what? For me, for my wife, for my daughters, it's not a fucking option. The other day, and I'm not gonna mention their name, my wife came up to me on a Sunday morning because we went to go hang out with some friends, and she said, "You know what, babe?" She said, "I'm glad you made me strong." Because, and I'm not gonna go into details, but all I'm gonna say is this. She said, because what I've heard from that individual, I'm so glad, like, you wouldn't ever given me that option to be weak. Like, in my family, and it's not for everybody, but I mean, my wife would tell you, like, I am 100% of giving my wife her pedestal. She's my queen. My daughters are my princesses. That's their pedestal. But at the same time, within that pedestal, they're not allowed to be weak, bro.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna counter that.
Please do so.
It's okay not to be okay. And,
100%.
And you mentioned it before. Seeking help for mental health. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's
I've done it
okay
many
not
times.
to be. It's okay for a man to hey, I need help. To ask for help. It's okay. Us, as man, we're teach now, man. You gotta push
Especially
through
as
it.
Mexican, man.
Yeah, you're strong. You don't ask for help. You're okay. And it's like I said, it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree, man. I feel like overall we have very similarity fundamentals. Like everybody here in this room, our fundamentals are very similar. It's just that all our experiences have been different. The reality of it, you know what I'm saying? All our life experiences have been different. Everybody in this room that has altered our bias of how we see things, like honestly on the exterior level. But what I hear from everybody here is that fundamentally, we all kind of in a way kind of like think the same way. Or maybe that's what I feel. But
because I think the male suicide rate is going up.
Oh no, it's extremely up high. Male suicide rate is so high, and it's not talked about enough, man.
And I'd much rather help a friend than go to a friend's funeral.
100%.
You know what? That's a good point of whoever views this podcast, to let them know that it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're gonna DM Yair, me, you, or Martin. Like, you can DM us with your issues and let us know what you're going through. We're not gonna expose you in any way, because we're in that position where we like to help people. We don't want to make fun of anybody in any mean way, right? Like, don't be scared to let somebody know how you feel, because sometimes you got to find out whether what you're feeling is right or wrong.
Definitely. Yeah.
100%, man.
Martin,
Know that it's okay not to be okay. But Martin, closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts. I mean, just like to bring it back to what I had said about that book that I was reading. Like, we're not all candles that if a little bit of wind comes, it's not going to blow us out. You know, we're that little timber and a big piece of wood that if wind comes, we're just going to get inflamed. We're going to get bigger. We're going to get through it. And I just want to thank Jonathan for coming out here to do the podcast with us. I hope we can have you back. Like I said, this has been one of the funnest episodes we've done so far.
Definitely.
One of the longest ones we've done so far. So to any upcoming guests that are coming out here, you have a new record to beat. It's going to be 2 hours and almost 3 hours.
And if you don't, it's okay.
Almost 3 hours.
There's going to be a lot of edits.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of edits. I don't know what parts. I have a long weekend ahead of me.
You do.
But I want to thank Jonathan for coming out here. I want to thank my co-host for coming out here. I want to thank Javier Aguirre. That's
Young
here.
Javier.
Joined us like halfway through the podcast. He brought us some micheladas. He stops at 6 gas stations. He was determined to not give up, which is what we're preaching out here.
Amen.
And but yes, guys, if you made it all the way down to this over here, like Jesus Christ, leave a comment or something, letting us know that you made it
really
all the
appreciate
way
the
through.
Yeah, bro, if anybody made it to this part of the podcast, you probably want to be in this podcast.
Yeah,
so send a DM.
yeah.
reach out.
You're probably a fanboy.
Thank you very
You're
much.
the most important one.
Close it out, Noe. Close it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, closing it out, Jonathan, man, thank you so much for truly this being the best, most exciting, and just great energy podcast we have. No disrespect to any other guest. I believe it's okay to tell somebody when it's something is the best. You know, that's just how I am. I'm sorry, guys. I'm an asshole. Thank you, bro. Because some people aren't cool.
Watch out.
Sorry, bro. Some people aren't cool with that. You know, everybody has to be equal and everybody has to get a trophy. No. Jonathan, man, thank you so much for enlightening us. I actually learned a lot today, man, and I feel like our listeners, our viewers are going to learn a lot today. It was a lot of fun, a lot of great energy, man. Exactly what we want here at Off the Bench Podcast. So just say thank you so much to our viewers. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Remember that if you're going through anything in life, like Jonathan said, like we always share experiences, just to keep going keep going through, you know, get better. Like Jonathan said, if you have the confidence, if you feel like you can do something, go ahead and pull the trigger. Let this be the moment in whatever you're going through, that if you're listening to this right now, if you're this deep in, let this be the sign you're looking for to pull the trigger, man. So with that being said, thank you so much, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the episode 5.